Welcome to Rap City Beyond the Basement. I am the man with the plan. Big Tigger doing big things in the building.
Yeah.
We are celebrating 50 years of hip hop, and check this out. We are also honoring this historical exhibit curated by Dallas Austin and my boy Jermaine Dupri to commemorate Atlanta's impact on hip hop. The 2023 BET Hip Hop Awards were right here in the A, and from the red carpet, well, green carpet, all the way to the stage, there was so many monumental moments. I grabbed a few friends for a Hip Hop Awards 2023 rewind. And ladies and gentlemen, in the building, one of my good friends, and I mean for decades at this point. And ladies first, please believe it, Yandy Smith-Harris.
Hey!
Hey, Yan!
What's up, T?
What up, dog?
How you feeling?
I saw her backstage. I see her sitting here. You're here, and you belong being here.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here with you. I feel like I'm with family.
Please believe it. Speaking of family, sitting to her left, my right, none other than the man, the myth, the legend, KP.
That's right.
What up, KP?
Hey, man, just happy to be here, man. Happy to be included.
You know you making noise when you only need 2 letters
That's
to
it.
describe yourself. Who are you? KP.
And a P.
Please believe it. And to my immediate right, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, podcast extraordinaire, Mike punched me in the face. I'm sitting far away from him on purpose. Man, Papa is here.
I'm here. They let me in. Security was light today.
How was security yesterday at the awards, though? How was that?
It was an
It
hour's
was turned
worth.
up.
They were warned about your type, okay?
Yeah, no, it was
I'm
turned
sure it
up.
wasn't easy for you.
It was
All of them knew me. They like I gave them all autographs. It was cool.
No issues, no stress. Please believe it. So the beginning, before we even get to the show, the green carpet was a thing.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Shout out to Fat Joe. Shout out to Jazzy Jeff. Shout out to all the legends that was in the building.
Yes.
You know, I looked at the Hip Hop Awards from the outside. This was my first time being on the inside.
Right.
As a family affair, and that's what it felt like.
Good.
Yeah.
Supposed to feel that way. KP, you've been to,
A plethora of
how does the green carpet feel
plethora.
every time you hit the carpet at an award show, especially the Hip Hop Awards?
Well, you know, the reality of it is I'm a behind-the-scenes person, so I don't always make the carpet. But I enjoy watching it because that's where people get the flex. It's like that's where the new jewelry come out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The new exclusive kicks. So it's a beautiful place to see.
Yeah.
Yandy was there though. Yandy was
Yandy was
green
looking
carpeting.
Yandy.
I was in the building.
Yeah, you
I
were.
was working and I was working. Okay,
That's
I
right.
was doing 2 things. The carpet was fun. I got to see a lot of people. I was happy to see Eric B on the carpet. I was happy to see him. I gave him a big hug. You know, he's an OG where I'm from, and he's a legend. He's a straight legend. So I got super excited. I was fanned out
That's right.
for Eric B. And then I saw you on the carpet.
Yeah.
He was
I
the
think
first person that interviewed my husband and I. You know, my husband is kind of shy. He don't talk too much. He's a man of very few words.
Yeah.
But he definitely had a lot to say, and thank you for pulling him in.
Yeah, that was great.
It was great to see you up there.
Yeah, and you had the fam with you, so
The
that was
whole
cool.
family.
Whole fan.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Traveling with-
Why that face?
Because, you know, when I actually hosted the backstage camera, so when the kids found out, so that's Little Men DC, Infinity, my daughter, when they found out, they was like, we gotta go, you gotta get a ticket, I was like, hold on, I'm working.
Yeah.
But you know, they're like, okay, Mom, I need to wear this, I need a chain, I need some earrings, I need this outfit, I need those shoes, this is not about y'all. So on the red carpet, it was very, wait, Mom, can you fix my shirt? Can you make sure my jeans is right? So with my dress, and I was all chromed up, I'm fixing pants and making sure hair's not in the face. I was like, come on now, I'm working.
Fam glam.
Learn the process from the queen, though.
Yeah.
Who were they excited to see?
My son,
Yes.
there were so many amazing, beautiful, talented legends in the building.
Right.
My son wanted to do this ski. I was like, what's that?
Like, are you
But
AKA?
listen, I understand. She had the crowd going bananas. If she sit down, they're like, oh, she sat down like that.
Yo,
So
Shout out to
I
Sexy.
get it.
One time.
I get.
shout out to Sexy.
Listen, I was backstage, and when she finished performing, I'm like, okay, get her to the carpet. She had like a swarm. You know when you get real big, like when Missy coming through or Puff coming through, they got a whole entourage for real.
Right.
She got that already.
Yeah.
First BET Hip Hop Awards, and she
about
got that.
that?
She,
That's
I
crazy.
couldn't even get to her because the entourage was too thick.
That's dope.
So
It
Matt,
is.
it's your first time being on the green carpet, red carpet. Were you what anybody you bump into like, oh, you're like, all right, like
Yeah, Jadakiss, you know,
Okay.
he was there with his dad, his son.
Yes.
You know, we had a nice conversation about, you know, when he was younger and him, you know, just starting to rap, and his pops probably thought it was noise, and now you got another generation coming
Yes.
after him because you know, Jadakiss's son, he raps too. So,
Okay.
you know, that was cool.
Yeah.
There were a couple other moments. You know, I'm glad I stopped skipping leg day because Lola Brooke, you know, she didn't want the distance on her, so I had to kind of like get right there with her. You know what I mean? That's Brooklyn, so I had to make sure it looked good.
She felt
Right,
comfortable.
right.
And in the midst of that interview, I was like, "Yo, my leg, yeah, leg day's working out for me."
You didn't know you had Megan Thee Stallion knees.
I didn't know. Whoa,
I was
whoa,
gonna
whoa.
say,
Respectfully.
You're not doing that.
Respectfully, all
He was
right?
working
Can't
twice. He
say
was
that's
working. It's
not
working.
gonna do it.
Respectfully,
Math was
it's
working, it's
Respectfully,
working.
okay? God.
I wasn't
please.
You
gonna
could
do
have
it.
went Magic Mike or something. You could have make it a style.
Magic Mike.
Magic Mike.
Yo,
Magic
but I
Man.
will say there was so many female MCs in the building.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Lots of people.
That I remember a time when that was scarce. It
Scarce.
was like they were like the token member of a group,
Mm.
and now it's like they're coming in droves.
Yes.
I actually think women are having the best the last couple of years have been about the women. Like we've heard more, we've gotten more perspective over the last couple of years through that.
I feel like it's something that we should have saw coming, because once we started seeing you know, male rappers in dresses,
Man, I don't see why not.
yeah, why
Yeah.
not?
It's time. It's time. And what I love most about it is the women come from different perspectives, right? Where you can have a Remy Ma, you can have a Cardi B, you can have a Sexy Red, you can have a Glorilla.
Yeah.
They're all so
Yeah,
different.
Scarlett.
The Scarlet.
Scarlet.
Yeah, Scarlet. Shout out to
Millie,
Scarlett.
Coy Leray,
Yes.
all of
Shout
it.
out to
Lotto. I mean,
Scarlett.
it's a thing.
And
Yeah.
they're all different.
Right.
Yeah.
They're not just one thing. They're not linear where they're just talking about one thing, dressing one way.
Yeah.
I love that.
Right.
That's awesome.
I love that.
I mean, we mentioned Glow, like she paid tribute to Left Eye in her performance.
Yes, and in
One
her
time.
outfit.
And then the whole look of it,
The
the feel
whole
of
look.
it. And then, you know, Sexy Red opened the show with the baby. And
Yes.
then came back for her own
Yes,
performance.
yes, yes, yes.
And so as we stay here with is this the wave of the woman, if you will? Like, we in that wave, and how long will this wave persist?
This conversation could get deep.
Hey, I'm here
I'll let
for
you
it.
guys take it.
Hilarious.
I'm here for it.
I think it's just becoming more balanced in that way. You know, with more opportunity and more, you know, you got more executives willing to try things that
Yeah.
they weren't used to, and now that they see it working,
Yeah.
like if anything, it may become an overload based on that, because we are in a trendy business.
Right.
So once somebody sees
I
one
don't
thing
think it'll
work,
be an overload at all.
no, I'm not saying it. And please let me know. I'm not saying that there can never be too many women
Right.
in anything.
Right.
I'm just saying that in the idea of the record company scope, where you talk about promotions, I think that the same way that you have a gangster wave, the same way that you have a
Backpack wave.
a backpack wave. It's
Yeah.
like, I think it's the wave right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the ones that are amazing are going to stay, and they're going to set trends for others.
Sure. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I think, men they've dominated so much. When we had the Midwest sound, when we
Right.
had Chingy and all of them. Then we had West Coast, we had East Coast. Men have reigned supreme for so long. I would love to see a poppin' West Coast woman,
Right.
poppin' Midwest woman, a poppin' East Coast, Southern, and really just take over mainstream.
Yeah.
Right.
New York is killing it.
Yes.
New York has been
mean,
killing
yes,
it
we
on
are.
the women front.
The South is saying stuff.
I'm in Atlanta, but I don't
Yeah,
stop
yes, we
representing
are.
New York.
The South is saying stuff.
We rapping.
I mean,
it
we
up.
know y'all still got
We
something
putting
to say.
the bars
That's
out
all.
there.
Right.
So wait a minute, you said it could get deep. Get deep.
I mean, we saw a lot of a lot of male rappers go in a direction of trying to be more feminine. And if that's the appeal, then why not get a woman in there to do the job?
They most of these records are club party records.
Right.
Or the energy of it, the turn up of it.
Yeah, but we're in the age of the vulnerable MC. Like my feelings. I'm so stressed.
Are you
Yeah, it's
saying
just too
that's a
much.
feminine
No.
characteristic?
I'm
Save
saying.
yourself.
I'm saying this. I'm saying there's
Let me
that,
know
and
what
then
you're saying.
there's that, and then
Are you
there's
saying that's a women
there's wedding
thing?
dresses
Because I
on
know
album
some emotional
covers.
men.
Maybe
I'm
wanna hit a
saying there's
blinker.
wedding dresses on album covers.
There is.
So
I'm just talking on the emotion side. I know more emotional men than I know emotional women.
You don't know a lot of women then.
No,
Wow.
I know a lot of emotional men.
Yeah, okay. All right.
That's what I know.
Right.
You trying to act like y'all don't be in your feelings?
I mean,
Just
yeah,
a little bit.
you listen to the radio. Apparently, a lot of them are in their
Emotions
feelings.
make you cry sometimes.
A
It's
lot of
okay.
them.
Like we absolutely can have both.
We haven't been. We're just now expressing ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, also, we didn't have the space to try but so many things. Like, I think now you're getting people into songwriting. They're not just rapping.
Yeah.
So if you write a song, it's going to be about something, and usually it's going to be about what you feel.
Right.
So, you know, you get a little in it.
Man, we talked about the baby opening the show. You chopped it up with him on the green carpet.
Yeah, that's the homie, man.
What's
That's
the energy like?
The energy. I mean, there's always high energy with him. I asked him if he was going to bring back the muscle suit. He's like, no, I'm wearing the muscle suit. So
Hey.
that's what it is, man. That's what it is. But yeah, the baby, I think, throughout the ups and downs of his career, he's still electric. He's still on fire. He's still one of the best rappers out there, and I think people overlook that.
And it looks like he's having fun.
Yeah, and it
But that's
always
always been his
looks like
energy.
he's having
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
That's a great
And
thing.
I think they stole that from him a little bit with his, his challenge.
Yeah,
When the cancellation was coming looking for him.
right, right.
And
But he
it's
stood
good
tall.
to see him return
Yes.
to having fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the way he set off the show was kind of, it felt just like
It
that.
did. It did.
Am I allowed to say thank you, Kanye?
Yeah, you can say what you want to say.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Kanye. Because that jail verse definitely brought him back.
Put him back on the map.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You interviewed JD before he got to set off the whole building with the So Def.
Yeah, I was gonna do the leg day thing again, but I said, nah, man, it's a
That might
legend.
have been received differently.
Everybody know, yeah, exactly. I don't think he would have liked that. He would have been like, man, what you doing, man? Stand up, man. But yeah, JD's a legend in the game, and I thank them for his contribution to hip hop, and just producing and finding new talent,
Yeah,
and
for
kind
sure.
of creating the wave of the young MC.
For sure.
So shout out to JD, man. That
No
was
doubt.
great.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the So Def situation as it unfolded on stage. Yandy, I ran into you backstage, like you said,
Yeah.
working. Who
Yeah.
was one of your more fun interviews backstage?
So I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed interviewing So Def. So I was talking to Ludacris, and then as I'm talking to Ludacris, here comes Jermaine, then the Brat, then the whole crew came. So we had to back up, and it was about 10 people that we were talking to all at the same time. And it was a lot of energy. It was a lot of fun. Bow Wow was there. But I must say, I think the best time I had was with the City Girls.
Really?
The City Girls dropped some gems.
Like,
They told us some exclusives. We got some exclusive tea. So they are officially dropping an album. I was the first to get the name of the album. They had to consult with each other to make sure they could tell me, because they're like, we haven't told anybody yet, but we're going to tell you because we watched with you. So the name of the album is Ra.
It's rock.
Nope. Ra.
rah, like,
R-A-H.
Rah,
Want to take a stand at what that might mean?
Rah.
go.
Just Ra. Like a raw, like Ra.
Like
it's
the
an
end of a
acronym.
Run DMC
Definitely an
verse.
acronym.
Definitely an acronym.
Okay, all right,
You
cool.
want to something, man?
Might have just been a sound
Like
effect.
a
Might
It's
have
kind of
ad-lib.
that too. It's
Right.
like a raw.
Okay, you want to take a stab at
Rhymes with raw.
What the RAH stands for?
R-A-H.
R-A-H.
What does it stand for?
Yo.
Anybody
Yo,
want
I
to
don't
know?
want to say it, because if I'm wrong,
Just
y'all
say
gonna
it,
look
just
to
say
me
it.
real messed up,
You're
man.
going to look real messed up
You
if
might
you
as
say the
well
real
do it.
thing.
Oh shit.
So just say possibly the wrong.
I can't take it.
Please,
I
please,
can't take
humor
that
me.
risk of BT. If I was in
I'm
the shop,
telling
I'd say
you,
it.
the name is risque.
It's risky.
It's
I already know what it
risque.
is then.
What
It's
is
the
it?
first is the R raw.
No.
No.
First
okay.
word is real.
It's real.
Real.
There we go.
I already got it.
Ass.
Home, right?
Real ass what?
Real ass home, right?
Real ass
I
what?
can't say it.
You want you listen. This
Real
podcast-
ass
Y'all ain't about to get me
honorable
caught up,
female.
Cody.
Real, it's
not
not
doing
real as honorable humans, but they are that. So the album is Real As,
Okay.
Right, real ass
and the
home.
album is coming up October 20th.
Okay.
October 20th.
That's tight.
So in
Now,
order
it doesn't
to
even end there.
in order
Oh,
to get
oh,
all the
oh,
wait,
more.
let me stop.
It's more.
Wait, it gets worse.
No, it gets better.
It gets better.
Better.
No, I'm sorry. I was going
Right.
into my
KT,
hip hop
it gets
lexicon.
Better.
Right.
They're also in the process of shooting a reality show. And Miami tells me that this is the first time she really let the world into her being a mom, a working mom in the business, and dealing with managing her relationships, her raising her babies, and being a huge star.
So the show is happening. The baby done set it off. It's a lot of interesting moments. As a DJ, and KP, I want to get your thought process on it. the D Nice Kid Capri situation.
I mean, they had all the artillery. Like, they did everything that they were supposed to do.
Amen.
Like, I was backstage, so I didn't get to see it and feel it out in the crowd, so I don't know what it felt like in the room, but it looked amazing on the screen.
Yeah.
But as a DJ, you were there. What were your thoughts?
So when you know the sample, and you know what they're about to drop, and they use really familiar ones, which was cool. But certain songs just got immediate energy, even from the sample.
Right.
So it was well thought out and executed. Like, they did their thing, and it just, as we covered 50 years of hip hop, it was the great, you know what I'm saying, the great connection of where the sample came from to some of your favorite hip hop songs.
Right.
And I find it interesting now that even some of our favorite hip hop songs are being sampled now.
Oh, listen.
Like it's a whole thing now. It's a wave.
No,
I'm hearing
over
songs.
the last year.
Yes.
No, over the last year, like, because I work with Pharrell and I do all the sample clearances. So the amount of Neptune's records that I've had to clear in the last year is nuts. But it's like, it makes me proud in a way as well, because it's like, nobody thought that the music we were making was worth anything at the time.
Yeah.
So for it to still be worth more, like, we've sampled, we've added money to the older artists, and now that comes back to them, but now it's coming back to us.
Right.
It's just like, it's the economy of hip hop.
And if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Facts. Remix it.
Yeah.
Remix it.
A bar.
Hey man, we do this. We do this. And then even from the producing angle, you know, they had Scott Storch on stage recreating some of his amazing songs. When he did Lean Back, everybody went crazy. Like Timbaland and Swiss stood up and were like he's like he's doing the thing.
That was epic.
It was amazing to watch it happen in real time.
Yes. I love the synergy between Kid Capri, D Nice. Just seeing them go back and forth. Both of them have had legendary careers in this business, from the White House to every HBCU that D Nice and Kid Capri have touched.
Right.
But to see them on the stage doing what they do that got them to where they are was epic. It was like a versus battle without it being a versus battle, but it was amazing. And then Scott Storch, and when I got to talk to Scott Storch backstage, and I said, Scott, listen, you done made a whole lot of bops. And I said, you think you could turn me into a rapper? He said, I could definitely do it. And I said, wait a minute. He said, I'm gonna make you a mean bop. I said, well, if you do, it's gonna be a bop and a bag.
Nah.
He said, well, certainly I'm gonna get you a bag. I said, okay. So Scott, if you're looking, I'm on your heels with that one.
All right,
Yeah,
a
shout
bop
out to
and a
Scott.
bag.
Yeah, that ain't club talk no more.
That's the name of my song.
Bop in a
Listen.
bag. There it is.
A bop in a bag.
Yeah. Wow.
Credits. Anyway, but again, we saluted Marley Marl.
Oh yeah.
Man,
We saluted Timbaland and Swiss.
yes.
These are the architects
Yes.
of the grooves and rhythms.
Well, Marley Marl is the architect. Like, he is
For
the
sure.
first to sample. Like, he's the first Manny Fresh for our generation, right?
Gotcha.
Like, when you think about the amount of artists he produced, the amount of artists that he produced specifically for them.
Yeah.
Like, they all had their own sound, whether it was Kane, Biz, whether it was Roxanne, whether it was LL. Like, you know, the fact that I forgot that he produced Rakim.
Yes.
I forgot that he did
Yes.
Paid in Full.
Yes.
I mean, not to mention the producers that came out of, like, his mentorship.
Yes.
Right.
Large Professor.
Yeah.
Like, you name it. There's Havoc. They all learned from Marley Marl.
Right.
So
He is truly the curator of hip hop.
Yes,
Yeah.
like, because
Curator.
prior to him, it was you use the Sugar Hill Band, or you might have, like, I don't know, how did you make records? You didn't use samples. Like, he took
Had
drums.
that Dr. Rhythm.
Yeah, like, he
that
sampled
Gemini,
those
that
drums.
one loop,
SP.
looping. Yeah.
And I listen, full disclosures, listen, I grew up listening to Marley.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was tape. And those were the, like, him and Red on a Friday night was the thing.
Red
Like,
Alert.
it was Marley Marl and Red Alert. You
Yes.
one went to commercial,
Yes.
you went to the other
Yes.
station.
Yes.
So to see him get his flowers, and in the way he got his flowers, I mean, when you have Rakim come on stage.
Yo, bro.
The God.
Yo, I was 10 years old at the point that he walked out. When he walked out, I shrunk into, like,
Yeah, I was a little starstruck on the red carpet when R walked up. That was
Yeah.
and then the goat came from the ground.
yeah.
And then the goat arrived.
Right.
And did LL in only the way that LL can do.
Yes.
You know? It's
Rockstar.
You get reminded
Yeah.
What
of
it
our-
looks like.
of what excellence
Yeah.
lyrically,
Yes.
musically,
Yes.
performance.
Performance stellar.
You know what I'm saying?
Stellar.
When you say you get reminded,
You heard that? The operative word here.
it just sounded like a little shot.
No
It's
shots?
no
No,
shot.
But
I
you
think,
get
but it's a
reminded.
fact though. I
Right.
think there's a fact that there aren't a lot of artists who put the effort into the performance
Yes.
like they do the music.
Right.
And, you know, if they put the effort in the music, but when they that was a shot.
I heard you. I heard you.
But
They was still.
but the thing is, it's like you see what that muscle memory of just being great looks like.
I mean, so if you're gonna say if it sounded like a shot,
It was a shot.
Yeah, definitely a
if it
shot.
sounded like a shot,
Definitely a
the
shot.
clip was loaded. Think if you talk about the Buster,
Oof.
LL, you talking about people when no matter what's happening, the energy, the level,
performance.
you know what I'm saying,
Top
is going
tier.
to be there.
Yes.
And let's just talk about now. Lots of, and I still don't understand why newer artists are over their own lyrics. Like they don't even have the TV track or the instrumental to rap over it. They're rapping over their own songs.
Oh,
it's different.
go ahead.
I think now there was a time when labels started signing artists based on their popularity and not necessarily their craft. Now you look around New York City. One thing that drives me nuts is I can't find any open mics to go to anymore. And those were like the places where
Yes.
you went to hone your skills. You went to see who else was dope in the borough.
Yes.
I mean, these are guys that came up during an era where they went to Maria Davis, Mad Wins.
Yes.
They went to,
The Village Underground.
Right.
Well, yeah, you
There
had to
was so
sharpen
many
your
places,
sword.
and they got to
Yes.
know each other and see who was the next up.
That's it.
And we're talking about DMX, Nas,
Yes,
Jay-Z, all of them
yes.
being in the same building at the
Yes.
same time, watching another artist
Yes.
perform who's also on the list of greats. You get
And-
what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But if you think about it, it's almost light work unfair to expect that from them because they get popular from their room, from their phone.
Facts.
So it's not like
No,
they
it's
get.
not unfair.
But
No,
that's-
no, no,
that's-
no. It's true, but I'm just saying that
But does
the
that
technology.
take away artistry? Does that take
No,
away
it takes
Where
away the
did you get to
performance.
build it?
creativity?
It takes
Right.
away the performance, absolutely, because you leave. Like I made a record in my room. People said it was popular.
Right.
Somebody with a check came and said, "I like what you're doing." You don't know you're not doing enough.
No, let me tell you something. Misty and Timbaland made records in dorm rooms.
No, but they didn't have
also-
technology. But they
They
also,
performed.
but they did not have technology that would allow them from the dorm room from that first demo to be heard.
Right. They still
Yeah.
had to. She still had to go out there and do it in front of people.
Yeah.
To be Missy on stage.
To even be heard.
Absolutely. But I think, I agree to the fact that we have absolutely taken away the connection of people to people,
Yes.
for sure. But I think even now in this world of digital this, digital that, content is a real thing.
Yeah.
You still have to be able to get on your Instagram and do some sort of, when you're talking about, people don't want to just hear the record.
Mm-hmm.
They still want to see you on YouTube. They want to see you on Snapchat.
Right.
Performance just looks different,
Right.
but you still have to have some level of content to get people into you. Take Sexy Red, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
She has a level of, she's constantly putting out content that is true to who she is.
Right.
That is her level of performing. Now, I think that we have gotten used to the everything, putting your whole body, soul, and spirit into performing, and I agree with that. I have an open mic literally across the street from here that I do every Wednesday night. You guys are invited if you feel like
right.
it.
Bow, bow, bow.
Because that is how I understand talent.
Right.
I want to know that you believe in the artistry of what you're doing. You know your lyrics. They have the tracks playing with them because they don't memorize their lyrics.
But again,
That's the problem.
again, to his point, I made this song in my house. I have all these likes, all this content. The first time I'm in front of 5,000 people,
Yeah.
is the first time I'm on stage.
Yeah.
I don't even know
What to expect.
how to engage the audience. I don't know how to
But that
draw
comes
them
back
in.
to him again, A&R development. Like
Well, no,
these
no, no, no,
labels
don't-
don't
no,
have.
No, they don't have that anymore.
No, not me
Yeah,
particularly.
artist development doesn't
Like
exist.
my
Wait,
the
what
artist.
department
No,
is
no,
that?
your artists
Yeah.
are amazing because you understand artist development.
But it's also I came from a time where it had to be. It
And
was.
it
It was.
had to be
It had to
done.
be done.
Right.
So
like
we can't
Ti was
blame-
running up hills
We're
doing
not
verses.
blaming. We're just citing the difference.
Yeah, the difference
Yeah,
is.
yeah, for
We're not
sure.
blaming.
But these labels have gotten this microwave success from these artists, and they don't necessarily put the time, money, and emphasis on artist development.
I gotta say this because I've had this conversation before, right, with an artist who needed artist development. But then when I said, "Hey, so we're gonna put you in rehearsal for what?" I already got the money. Like if someone already paid them, it's hard to tell them they're not doing well. until they get out in front of people and find out, oh shit, it's more to it.
Right.
Like it's usually it's just backwards now because they don't have to. That's all I'm saying.
Well, let's not say everyone, because I think that Megan has a dope show performance.
She does.
Yes.
I think the baby,
Clearly.
like I said, is electric.
Does.
But a lot of these other, if I'm a fan and I'm standing online to your concert to get inside, and your song comes on, and all you're doing is twerking, and the mic is like right here, and the lyrics are playing, I'm not entertained. I'm sorry.
Twerking is an art. Twerking is an art.
And that is a whole nother
I'm not
podcast.
mad at what you're saying.
I
not
can't
mad at what
twerk.
you're saying,
That is not easy. That
'cause
does not come to everybody easy.
I've been working on these skin tight gray sweatpants, and I think that's going to be an art too. I think
I'm
that
not
that's the
talking to you.
direction that we're going.
I'm not.
So yeah, it's about time the fellas get in on this thing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Y'all got
man.
to twerk. We just have to shake,
Nah.
and that'll be it. You know what I mean?
You're gonna bring back the
Let's see
R&B thrust.
What happens to the world after all that?
So on the flip side of what we're talking about
It's
comes
called hunching.
the 30-year anniversary of So Deaf.
Yes.
And that performance.
Man,
Yes.
listen, I'm
the
so
epitome
proud.
of performers
The best.
and performance.
Yes.
Yeah.
On so many levels. JD brings out 60% of the heat.
Not even like it lets you
Holding
know
back.
that if there's a versus, it might not be easy.
Yeah.
He was holding back.
Yes.
And he was in his
hold it
hip hop bag. He didn't even get into his R&B.
I mean, that's a
bag.
whole nother bag. That's the
a
bigger
whole
bag,
nother-
too.
Right.
It's the bigger bag.
Yeah,
His
that
hip-hop
wasn't
bag
a
is-
Mariah Usher bag. That was he brought out Chingy. He brought out Luda, Chingy, Bow Wow, the Brat,
Lil Jon.
Nelly, Lil Jon.
Yes.
Tyrese came out with Chingy.
Tyrese
Yes.
came out.
Bone
And
Crusher.
Black Tie. We're gonna call him Black Tie.
Oh, he was
Hip-Hop
Black
Boys.
Tie. Yes.
Yeah. And the Franchise Boys.
What up, Black Tie?
Yeah, and the Franchise Boys came. Like, listen, like
Bow.
Bow Wow on that, man. Bow Wow killed it.
I take full credit for JD and Bow Wow.
You brought that
coming
back.
back together,
Oh,
Bow
you
was
did
on,
that?
Yes, he was on the show, and he actually gave me full credit on the red carpet. So I
Okay.
can say this.
That was
can say
beautiful.
that.
He gave
We
you the
need
credit.
that.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank
now
you.
why doesn't
Take
give
all of
credit?
For the culture.
Take all of it. I'll take all of it.
We
Yeah,
needed
that
that.
was good to see. That
Yeah,
was really good to
for
see.
sure.
An epic moment. I mean, it's special. It's in Atlanta. It's 30 years of So Deaf as
Yes.
we celebrate 50 years of hip hop.
Right.
And to bring it all together, and not just to throw it together, but to bring it all
Yeah.
together.
And
It
by
was
the
so
way,
insane.
we're still forgetting that Jermaine actually like rapped last night.
How about that?
Like Jermaine, like you realize he wrote those Crisscross records.
Yeah.
Like so when he did like Jermaine's performance was great to me because he started on the turntable with ABC, showed you the sample that Jump came from, went into it, rapped it, and then it dropped into Welcome to Atlanta.
Whew. I love it.
Crazy.
And to think
That
that this
was
is
dope.
probably one of the last performances to close out the 50th year of hip hop
Right.
in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I mean, I must say to the executives that pulled that all together,
Pow, pow.
genius.
Yes.
BET, great job because that was genius. That was
Only
great.
thing missing.
Only thing?
Only thing missing.
Let's talk about it.
What if Hov comes out and they do Money Anything?
That would have been amazing.
That would have been.
But
That would've been
but,
incredible.
But you know what?
Ouch.
You know,
Ouch.
Jermaine did his verse on Money
Jesus.
Anything.
Sheesh.
Jermaine rapped
That would
his.
have been crazy.
Come on, y'all
That
asking for
would
too
have been
much.
nuts.
You said you asking for too much?
Y'all asking for too much. We had LL already.
Can I have lofty
I know.
expectations?
Could you imagine the last
Oh.
closeout 50-year anniversary performance? Jay-Z on that stage?
That would have been nuts.
Oh God.
Whew.
Another highlight that I enjoyed was DJ Drama set.
Yeah. Also, Atlanta, what's up?
Gangsta
Atlanta was
Grizzles.
very good.
Yeah, bastards.
I mean, Fab set it off.
Fab set it off, and Fab is one of my favorites. Like on the low, Fab is like one of my absolute favorite MCs, but also because he's funny as shit and nobody knows it.
Fab is funny.
Like I wish we knew more.
Until
Yeah.
Twitter, they figured it out. After Twitter. Yeah.
But then my guy came out, T.I. came out.
Kang.
Hey man, hit you with the Dope Boys in the Trap. Hey, listen man, I was proud. It's 20 years of trap music.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this celebrates the 20th year of trap music, and to see him and Jeezy up there doing their thing, it was
sure.
amazing.
For sure, for sure.
Definitely think Lil Jon hopped out just to go, Gangsta Grizzly.
Hey man, give all the credit.
I mean, if we talking what ifs, Gucci on the stage would have been.
Woo.
Oh my
That
God.
would be
That
dope.
would be like Mount Trapmore.
You just brought us back to the verses.
Mountain.
Speaking of
Speaking of
Go ahead.
verses,
Can we transition?
Can we transition?
Because we just ran through it. Okay, JD, you salute.
Right.
And now that you've been honored, and Diddy was honored,
Got it.
yeah.
can we get that verses that we were
Yo.
And Timberland and Swiss
Yo,
was honored.
I
There it
sat
is.
behind Tim and Swiss was like, I got the check in my pocket.
Oh my gosh.
Like, for
The
example,
world needs this.
I want stock. I want to invest in that. I want stock in that one.
Yeah.
oof.
And I feel like it should be a concert.
I feel like it should be a tour.
I feel like it should be an album.
Oh, wow. Double
An
album.
album.
That would be crazy.
Yeah. That's
Oh
kinda
my
crazy.
gosh.
That would be crazy.
Oh my gosh.
But that would be an epic happenstance.
So who takes it?
Who's listening out there?
I'm from
Who's
Atlanta.
doing it?
Who takes it?
I'm from Atlanta.
Diddy.
I'm from Atlanta.
Okay.
Well, we going to hit records? Are we
Come
talking
on
about
now.
hit records? Jermaine has more hit records.
You said Jermaine has more hit
Yes.
records. Diddy can dance, my man.
He can
He
dance.
can dance. And once he
And,
starts
Okay.
dancing,
and he got
Jermaine
married.
is a
the whole world
dancer.
gonna dance
And he
with
got
him.
married.
We got Usher and Mariah. Oh, I ain't saying nothing.
Okay, so
Diddy kinda got
JD
married, Mariah.
JD absolutely has bigger R&B classic #1 smash
He has
record.
definitely more
Right.
number ones than most people.
I feel like Diddy has more
Cultural.
hip-hop.
He has more
definitely
cultural
hip-hop. We
relevance.
got, I mean, Biggie. I mean,
I mean,
And this is the reason I
could
wanna
just do
see it.
Life
I
After
know.
Death.
Listen.
What is it again?
But the
He
thing
could
is,
just do Life
it's
After
only
Death.
20 songs, though. You can only do 20 songs no matter what.
Yeah, that's Life After Death. Boom.
Flavor in Your Ear has to come out. What are you talking about?
yeah. What's the 411 Real Love?
I mean,
that gotta
it's,
come
Money,
out.
it
power,
would be
respect.
the most amazing thing that.
Oh, my God.
The Locks.
The Locks.
The Locks.
Please.
Don't get the
Jada.
locks on that
Jada.
stage.
The Locks.
Don't get the
The
locks
Locks.
on the
Please.
stage.
The Locks is killing every verses they
Come
touch.
on, man. You don't,
I mean, come on, man.
yeah, what are you gonna do with that?
The
Hey,
Locks.
man.
Well, listen, it's
I'm
something
just
we can
saying.
look forward to in the next 50 years. Of hip-hop. How do we future-proof or the culture
Ooh.
for the next 50?
Future proof.
How do we make sure it's safe, thriving, evolving for the betterment?
I think
How
the
are
first
we-
thing we have to step in and we have to make sure that we give the information to the
Yes.
younger artists because I
Yes.
think we're expecting a lot out of people who haven't had the reason to learn some of the things that we've learned and experienced.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a like a OG young G connection at some point. Like
Definitely.
we're missing all those things that we used to have, like conferences
Yeah.
where a new artist could hear from a elder statesman and find out the things you don't have to do anymore.
Yeah.
Find out the mistakes.
For sure.
I
But
think we definitely need to stop ageism.
yeah,
Yes.
There's so many artists that I would still love to hear an album
Absolutely.
from, and they're somewhere thinking they're not cool enough.
Yes.
Makes no sense to me.
I love that.
Like Andre.
Why do I
Stop
know?
listening to your son. Stop listening to your son. You're fire. Do an album, please. And that's from Mecca. So
Yeah. I want to hear a Missy Elliott album.
Yeah.
I want to hear
I
it.
think you're gonna get that soon.
I want to hear Missy
Yeah.
Elliott
I
album.
think you're actually gonna get that.
Yep.
Yeah, congratulations on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Missy.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Congratulations.
I on the carpet yesterday, people asked me questions as it pertained to Rap City, and the legacy of Rap City and how it fit in. My challenge to all the up and coming artists was to leave hip hop in a better place than when you arrive, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Like a lot
Yeah.
of people are winning,
Financially.
subtracting. What are you adding back?
Yeah.
Are we? I'm still playing songs from '86.
Yeah.
Rakim got on the stage yesterday. I tapped Joe Clay and I said, "Bro, this song is almost 40.
Crazy.
The song is almost 40,
And it still
Crazy.
applies.
and it's still crazy."
Crazy.
And I started asking myself, what 2020 and we playing in 2060?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to engage and challenge
Yeah.
newer artists, producers, everybody, like artists, whatever it is, whatever your lane is, to move the game forward,
Yeah.
not just to take from hip hop,
Yeah.
but give back.
For sure. And one thing I would say that's going to help make the legacy of hip hop future proof, Now it's about the business of hip hop as well. Like people are not just rapping, they're not just performing. They have coffee lines like Jadakiss, right? They are opening up stores and restaurants and starting clothing lines and really honing in on that other profit that is super important as well. So it's not just hip hop is a culture, and I think now we understand that it's more than just my lyrics. It's more than just my performance. People dress hip hop.
Yeah.
People want to eat, you know, hip hop.
Yeah.
Right. You come to my restaurant and you're gonna see things on the menu. Well, not tonight if you come, but our drinks are dance moves. Like if you gotta order the snake, you gotta do the snake. You want the WAP, you gotta order. Hip hop has become culture. You know, and I think that not only is
The
it
WAP could be
culture, it's
confusing,
culture
though.
of business as well, huh?
The WAP could be confusing.
No, it's the WAP, the dance.
The WAP, yeah.
The dance. The
Order
hip-hop
the WAP.
dance, the WAP.
Order the WAP.
Order the WAP.
Is there a city girl behind the bar?
No, there's no
Okay.
Cardi B.
All right. Just trying to-
No,
Trying
it
to
is the
figure it
WAP.
out.
Wait,
the dance
I was
like
thinking
this.
the other WAP for a minute. I was thinking the cultural WAP. Was
No, yeah.
that's a different WAP.
Yeah,
No,
different
this
WAP.
WAP. I was talking
He's
this
talking about-
WAP.
I'm just saying.
No, but when they said WAP, I was thinking a different one.
If I could walk
Than
up to
that
the
WAP.
bar
And get a
and
WAP.
order the WAP.
Can I have
Wow.
a bucket of WAP, please?
No, you can't have a bucket of WAP. Well, actually, you can at my restaurant. You're just going to have to pay a hefty amount.
Have some WAP on ice.
Like there's so many connect. My brain.
So, okay, we want to culture. We want to make sure it's evolving, thriving for the next 50.
Yes.
Where do you see it in 50?
In 50 years, I see hip hop still being the dominant genre in music. I think there's nothing more expressive. There's nothing that you can learn from more than hip hop. You can actually write a study or a speech or whatever and deliver it in a song. And not many other genres that can. There's no other genre that can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's geography, it's finance,
Yeah.
it's fashion, it's family, and it's based out of imagination and not having under most circumstances.
Right.
It's like making do with what you have. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean it's gonna thrive as long as people are creative and ingenuitive.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think again, I'm back to the business of hip hop. I see that there are so many young people that are rich beyond measures at a young age where they're not having to walk with backpacks of albums and sell cassette tapes out the back of their trunk. They're getting richer faster. And I think hopefully that will conclude them to be smarter faster with what they do with their money. I hope so. So I think that the business aspect of hip hop is going to expand, and there will be more diversity in the portfolio of hip hop where we can do so much more. I mean, we're sitting in a museum that is a hip hop museum where they're charging to get in, and you're looking at artifacts that we grew up like, you know, we see these pictures, we were at these events, but now they're charging people a fee to come in here and experience things that we were at. Come see the cover of this. I bought that cover for $5. They charge you $25 to get in this museum. I think the business of hip hop is going to grow even more because we're going to be smarter now that we have so much money. We're going to wonder what we need to do with this money.
And we have proof of concept.
We do.
Like this shit worked.
It works.
Definitely.
It works.
It definitely
works.
works. Listen, this whole situation was working. Shout out to Yandy Smith in the building. Yandy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
KP is in the building. Math.
Hoffa.
We in here. It's been a glorious edition of Rap City Beyond the Basement. Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
And if you're in Atlanta, check out the Trap Music Museum or Trap
Yes.
City Cafe.
Getting all the money.
Where we
Getting more
are.
money.
Yeah.
More
Hip-hop
money
business.
over there. Hip hop business.
This is Rap City Beyond the Basement. What's happening with your big tigs in the building? And from Outkast to Future, Atlanta has impacted hip-hop culture. We've been celebrating the 50th anniversary of hip-hop. These ATL music icons have helped hip-hop continue to thrive. Let's talk about old Atlanta hip-hop versus new Atlanta hip-hop. And who better to talk about this than the experts and the icons themselves? To my immediate right, Shanti Susting Das. Hi, Shanti Das.
Hi, Tigger.
Good to see you. Thank you for pulling up on us.
My pleasure.
Man that needs absolutely no introduction, Mr. Dallas Austin.
What's up, my brother?
What's up, Bob?
I'm good, man.
You good?
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, nobody on this thing needs any introduction. The Brat tat tat tat. Yeah. How are you, sis?
I'm blessed.
Good to see you.
You too, babe.
And holding down the other end of the table is none other than Mr. So Def himself, Jermaine Dupri. What up, Jay?
What's happening?
So, we're talking new versus old Atlanta. I've kind of seen both. One as a visitor, one as a resident. Individually, and jump in where you feel, have we given enough credit to Atlanta and its impact on hip hop over the last 50 and particularly last 30 years?
No.
Expand.
I mean, I would say the most impact came from even you doing Welcome to Atlanta and getting it started, you know what I'm saying, like at that time. Because, you know, obviously we've been known for a long time we wasn't accepted. And first not only be accepted, but then, you know, create our own stuff, everybody had their own shit going on. So I think that really when he did Welcome to Atlanta, that was really when I can say that it was universal enough to brag. Couldn't brag before that, was kind of getting in there, but by that time it was like, okay, South really got something to say. I think that's when it started for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately the biggest problem is that we have treated Atlanta as if it was like, I think we treat all the other cities and states like this, but you have to treat Atlanta differently because of the time frame that we have been putting out music, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't think that the world shifted in that space and understood that the heritage that comes from Atlanta, learn what the heritage is, and then look at the depth of the city as opposed to just like being, you know, because in hip hop right now, Atlanta's looked at, or before the 50s, before we started getting into this year, to me, Atlanta was looked at as a place where only the new artists continue to get notoriety from being from the city. So if somebody else come out, like even like when you just introduced it, you said Future to this person, right? It always is about the newest artist that's coming out. That's how Atlanta's being portrayed, right? So then you got this big, deep, heavy heritage in this city that feels abandoned, right? That like nobody talks about them as if like they weren't here, as if they didn't do anything. And I'm not even speaking about myself. I'm talking about the Kilos, the Raheems, the Shadis, the Success and Effect, the people that actually was here beating down the walls of radio, beating down the walls of the club, tearing the strip clubs up, doing everything that I started doing after I saw them doing it. And then, you know, the same, and it just goes on into like a journey. So I think that that's first and foremost, that it needs to be addressed that Atlanta as a whole is a new home for hip hop, right? And I think that to me, that's the message that needs to be, you know, driven from this point on. Like if New York started hip hop, right? The West Coast did their thing in between whatever that was, and then the latter parts of the 50 years have existed in Atlanta. And moving forward, this is what we have to address it as. It's here. People that want to discover hip hop, discover the heritage of Atlanta as well as you would do with Africa Bambaataa or Kool Herc or all of these other people.
Yeah,
for different reasons.
Yeah, to Jermaine's point, it just took us so long to earn the respect too, because like I was, you know, doing promotions back in the early 90s, and every time we go to some of the other coasts, it was like, oh, we were still this country city, right? Trying to move along. But we had a rich history here of hip hop, like Jermaine said, and when you think of the African Bambaatahs and Kool Hercs, nobody talks about Mojo, right? Or King Edward J, who are like our heroes, who were doing mixtapes, you know, in the late 80s. And they really should be a part of that conversation. I do like the fact that when A3C, which is the hip hop festival that started, it was like, okay, all three coasts. We got East Coast, West Coast, and South Coast. But I still don't think that even though they acknowledged us as the third coast, it didn't catch up with the notoriety.
Brat, like, who do you think is responsible for educating or helping to educate those not knowledgeable about that history?
Well, I think that we all are responsible to educate people. It's just that they don't want to listen. And they you know, they turn a kind of deaf ear, and it's like, okay, we need you to know where it started. We need you to know who laid the bricks, you know what I'm saying, who paved the way for you. A lot of these people that come out, they don't want to hear it. They just think it's all because of them and their talent and their skill, and, you know, no, it's because people paved the way for you before you got here. So it's up to us, but they have to have an open ear to want to listen, to know where it came from. But they'll soon learn when they fizzle out. That's when they want to find out what's going on. And that's when they care, when they flame die.
Dallas, you were going to say something?
I want to say, you know, it's interesting. I had ATL Jacob in here when we first did the museum opening, and he was actually in the theater room, and he was watching the documentary, and he was watching Rico Wade and them talk, and he was watching all this, and he was going, damn. And I was sitting next to him and I say, see, you know, it's a history to this, right? It just didn't start recently, or it just didn't start because, you know, this is what everybody does around the country. Like, we spent a lot of time, you know, I remember Jermaine and myself, it wasn't an industry here. Like, it just, you know, we had people, Bryson and me, SOS Band and Cameo, but for what we were doing, kind of introducing what was existing in our culture in the streets here, because that's what hip hop is in the first place. Is you're just kind of taking stories from the streets. You're taking slang from the streets. You're taking those words and you're making songs out of them. And all of a sudden, Atlanta had these words that didn't exist everywhere else. You know, there wasn't the same, yo, me, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't the same slang. It was like, yo, Sade. So everybody had to start to come in. Even when Goody Mob came in, you remember they were known as the group that, like, what the fuck are they saying? They represented the South the best. Because nobody understood, and everybody used to come to the South saying, y'all got these code words in the way y'all talk. Yo, Shorty, you spinning the block, what's up, keep some shit? Yeah, and we do, and it always has been that way.
So as people who helped lay the groundwork for what Atlanta is known as and what it is now, do you feel disrespected?
I mean, at times, yeah.
I don't know if it's, we went through different times, because at one point the radio stations wasn't even playing our stuff in Atlanta. They were playing it everywhere else, but here. So, like, I don't know if it's disrespected. We had to kind of find a way to educate everybody to you know, you don't, if you can't see it and can't imagine it, like, everything had to be in LA and New York for us to even go to Philadelphia for us to go see it. But in Atlanta, you could just see Old National Highway, and you can see, I can go to Jermaine's house and make some beats. We got some acts, you know. But the dream was being developed by us being like, what else can we do? What are they doing in New York? What are they doing in LA? How can we have our own acts? You know, so whether it was him having Silk Times Leather, or me starting with Joyce Irby and Juggy Fresh, or Another Bad Creation, it was us really just trying to imitate an atmosphere that we loved, but we didn't have here, you know? And so I think we fought for the respect enough to deserve the fact that if your child right now has been born in the last 10 years or 15 years, they think Atlanta is where hip hop is from, period.
Well, even with all of that, the city has definitely evolved. Atlanta is hip hop, whether anybody likes it or not.
Like it or not.
How do you feel that Atlanta, given all of what you just said, how do you feel like Atlanta's been able to maintain that identity? Like, it was a minute where, you know, the New York, West Coast, Midwest, and then Atlanta was like, mine.
Because, I mean, I feel like it was built, like, slowly. It was built, like, for instance, you know, when Coach would come around, he would have Hollywood, right? Coach was in his own version of training back then. Me and JD might have made it already, but it's always been somebody else on the runway that was training off of us, or learned from us, or learned from the mistakes, or whatever we did, or was inspired by what we was doing. And then you have like a person like a Coach K, or you have a person like, you know, Fly from Think It's a Game, you know, who says, okay, I can do that too, because Dallas and JD said that this is how this goes down here. You know, the organized noise is like, everybody kind of followed the pattern that we had, because we was the first ones to have it. Like, somebody coming from Arista, coming from Columbia to give us $1 million to do something in Atlanta, Georgia, when we 20 years old. you know. So it laid out what could be done. We bought studios. We made it possible so other people can be producers and writers and artists. All the shit that we didn't have, it was like, you know what? Let's make it so we have a factory for that, you know. So whether it's me having Tim and Bob or Mario Winans or whoever else, Brian Michael Cox and JD's camp, we set up these camps and we set up these things that like will not only create careers but also like give them the opportunities for them, but create this road that's been laid out for everybody else at this point. You know what I'm saying? This road that's been laid out, it wasn't always here. So when you look at it now, and I'll say, I think the difference now between how we were learning and how the kids now learning, they came in with so much money. Like we got so much money to your ears, you're making show money all night long, and you got money in front of you like that. For us, it was like Deion. Like Deion Sanders, Deion 21, when you go to the club, it was Deion. He the one who had the diamonds around his neck. He the one who had the chains up to here and the Ferraris and he's like, I'm gonna be a rapper. Right? But for us, Dominique, Deion, it was the athletes. Everybody else was rapping about being broke. It wasn't like the dope boys and the athletes had everything. So in between that, you had us as music, right? But if you look at Deion, you're like, I really want to be him. He got the wide body Benz. He got the chains up to here. So, you know, I feel Atlanta had this whole swell of
Did you want the curl?
I mean, at that time, you'd have gave me them chains. I would take the curl too. The curl, the Ferrari. But that, you know, Atlanta's always been a culturally creative place, right? It always will be that. It will always be something where the next thing is going to come out. You're not going to be, in LA, you can go out there and make a record. But here you can come and make something that's culturally significant. Right now, when you have people like Lil Baby, who's still been considered one of the biggest artists in the world, Amigos, 10 albums in, still what QC's done has been incredible to even elevate something that at one point was just right here on like, you know, that belonged to the trap. Same thing with T.I. and Jeezy. Like in Luda, like in Fast and the Furious movies. All of us been around here forever. Like not knowing who's gonna end up where, not knowing that me and JD was gonna end up here, Luda was gonna end up there, or Lil Jon was gonna end up not only doing promo for him, but becoming one of the biggest artists too. Right. You know, Monica, Ciara, you know, Atlanta's just been one of those places, man, it's a mecca. So many records that come out. I think that now it's just we need the right proper branding and infrastructure. Like if you come to Atlanta, I had this lady come here the other day. She said, man, I'm from LA. And the whole time I've been looking for Atlanta and I can't find it until I came here. So think about that. Like Nashville, you get off the plane, music. Atlanta, we didn't make sure we brand our city now. We got Coca-Cola, we got CNN, we got the Aquarium, we got the Civil Rights Museum. We got film because we have music in the first place, right? But the branding for the corporate people to take us serious in our own city is like the only next step we could have. That's when you really get official. Like all around the world, my club in London, Tate, Future, anybody come to perform from Atlanta, it's the biggest shit in the world. It's like they're the Beatles, right? But in our own city, how do we get it to where the branding and everything makes that kind of sense for other people that's coming out of town, and that's the only next step we got to have.
I think people got to address. You got to address hip hop, right? You got to start addressing hip hop in sections, right? And I think the one section that people have always ignored, right? And I took the butt of most of this dirt, right? Is the fact that when I started making records, hip hop was an old man game, right? It was a bunch of old and doing rap, right? That's what it was compared to me. Like I was 13, 14, 15 years old. These was 25 on tour, 30 years old already, right? But the monster of hip hop, I think this is one thing that I never see nobody address. The monster of hip hop started wanting to eat only young material. That was the food for the monster of hip hop. So as hip hop grew into the space that it is, the only food that it was eating was anything that was young, right? And for the longest, these older guys, not anything that was wrong with them, but for the longest, they were fighting that. They could not understand. They didn't want to see hip hop get young, right? So when I brought out Crisscross, these are the first two young rappers to ever be successful in the world of rap,
Right.
nobody that was old was championing this. It's like, oh no, rap ain't for no little kids.
I remember that.
You can't take these little kids. And I'm saying Chris Cross was performing at SOBs. They was performing at the Gavin Convention. They was performing everywhere where old was at. You go to these places, it wasn't no young people. It was all old people watching these two 11 and 12-year-olds, right? So then it was like, oh, this JD, all he want to do is make kitty rap, right? so this is what I'm saying. And the change of hip hop, everybody that was saying that, they're not paying attention that hip hop itself
Started becoming younger.
became younger.
Yep.
And he started I call hip hop a monster. I say it'll eat you up and it'll spit you out in the way that it wants to eat. That's what happened. It started consuming young food, young entertainment, young activity. And to this day, it's still not addressed. Everybody started addressing it because it became younger artists in the game that still want to act old, right? But even when I did the rap game, it was still Charlemagne and Envy told me, I won't say Envy, Charlemagne specifically was like, don't nobody want to hear no young people rap. He still was in that mindset. He ain't even realized, like, you're sounding like the old because you can't say, you saying that, hip hop hears you, right? You know what I'm saying? It hears you talk like this, like, oh, you ain't with young shit? Okay, cool. We gonna get your old ass up out of here. That's how hip hop operates. And I feel like that's the thing that's where the disrespect of Atlanta comes in, because everybody from Atlanta, the entry was young.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody, even Brat not being from Atlanta, she still was 19 when Funkified came out. Or something around in there. How old are you?
Somewhere, I don't know.
I want to jump in.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
so when you talk about Lil Baby, this guy can't be older than 21 when he first came out. He couldn't have been, not far as I'm looking at him. But I'm saying still, regardless, it's all young, right? It's crazy because one day me and Jay-Z was gonna sign 2 Chainz, and we was gonna do like this joint thing. And I called 2 Chainz on the phone from Jay-Z office, and 2 Chainz was like, man, OG, you know, this is a young man game now. And I'm like,
What?
like, who the f you talking to?
Take the boy out.
Legend.
I'm like, wait a minute, Doc, listen, you do realize I'm the person who created the young man space. Like, I'm the one that made it cool for young to rap, right? So, like I said, with the rap game, it's a whole TV show about underage kids rapping, right? And at that point, in modern day time, people were still fighting and acting like little kid rap
Wasn't it?
is not a thing, right? It's a thing. It's
Clearly.
a thing, and hip hop is in a younger space. So if you're operating from the mentality of what hip hop used to be in the 80s and the early 90s, you already out. And to me, that's the entry where Atlanta comes in, because everybody from Atlanta, anybody that don't have nothing to do with So Def, Dallas put out Illegal, he put out Another Bad Creation. Everybody that's come out of this city,
Started young.
they starting in their teens, and that's how it survives. So if you ain't paying no attention to that part, you don't understand what happened to hip hop. MC Shan saying we used to do it out in the park. This is what hip hop was for young Atlanta people. You go to the skating rink, there's people skating in there.
We're getting ready to go to the skating rink, listen to Trigger Man, before you even got there.
I feel like another thing, I ain't never say this to you, Dallas, but I feel like we was just trying to make so much money and be so business and go about it in a different way that we missed a lot of things, right? So when I be trying to put people on this stuff, right? I'm gonna ask you, Tigger, do you know in ATL who T.I. is supposed to be?
I have no idea who he's supposed to be.
He's Dallas.
He's you in the movie?
Yeah.
ATL and Drumline was
That's
my
what I'm
2
saying.
like movies, but like they happened on that same street. They happened on Old National. Every Sunday I would go skating, and other than that, the marching band was what took me out in Columbus.
Wow.
But the whole ATL movie, even me skating with Tip, teaching them how to skate. Evan Ross, all that was based out of Jelly Beans.
Okay.
The skating rink, me, T-Boz, Divine,
Goes back to
everybody. Like you were young, you went to the skating rink to get your music played. Toomp was DJ in there, so DJ Toomp was the DJ at Jelly Beans, while we all just skating around and Divine and them were dancing, doing their thing. T-Boz dancing, doing their thing. Organized Noise had a room inside the skating rink that they gave him, and that's where they set their first studio up at.
Wow.
So while all this is going on, if you look at this culture box, as I call it, you know, we in here skating, going around. We over here, they're over there making records, Divine them over here dancing, and everybody out of this box ended up being the best out of Atlanta. Divine ended up being the best choreographer, right? Because that's what he was doing. The best developer, everything we did. If I did Another Bad Creation, if I did TLC, if I did Sammy, Divine did all the choreography. That was his thing. You know, we found our spots. We started to be like, okay, well, who's the best at this or that? K. Wells was managing. Everybody was doing their own thing. You know what I'm saying? Me and JG got in like, okay, well, we're gonna have the labels and be the other source for all the stuff that come out of here. But everybody up under us, it's never been a person in Atlanta, Georgia, that did not come through me or him when it came down to whether it was using the studios, whether it was working for us at the label, whether it was like having the first, you know, this or that. We gave so many opportunities, built so many jobs, and that's what started this to be an industry. It wasn't an industry before. It was like, yeah, let's go to Atlanta and get some records. But when you come to Atlanta, you see the home of So Def, Billboard.
Oh, that Billboard.
Yeah, and you like, okay, something lives here as music, right? And then you start getting in, and you couldn't find us. We wasn't like New York. We didn't want to be found. We were like, you know what? We really fuck with each other. We're a community. We on our own shit. Let's stay hidden.
Well,
Let's
from
keep
the
our
outside
shit over
looking
here.
in, that was the one thing I think a lot of people took heed of. We used to say, they all stick together. That was the appearance from outside of Atlanta. They all rode for each other. They all worked together. It wasn't a lot of beef. It wasn't a lot of
It was like a
animosity.
family.
And I think that was one of the things that I helped uplift the what we call classic Atlanta to where, you know, so that you know, it kept the ball rolling, because we were all like, yo, like they all really get down with each other. They make records together, they hang out together and all of that, and that just wasn't common everywhere else.
Yeah, the managers couldn't even keep up with, like, people going by the studio because it was, so I'm gonna go by the studio and do this. I'm gonna go by the studio all day long. They keep going by the studio doing features with people they were with. The managers can't even keep up with it. They'll be like, damn, this is crazy. So it is what it is. So, you know, you have a person like a Jeezy. I'm the vice president of Def Jam at the time, and we're having a meeting. They're like, well, what do you think Jeezy's single should be? I'm like, wait, we're talking about that right here? Are y'all crazy? Really? Because you know what Jeezy's doing right now? He's in Atlanta putting out a mixtape that's going to be sold at every Shell gas station on Northside Drive, because y'all taking too long. You know, and Atlanta don't function like that. Atlanta function like, shit, we don't need no managers. What time you going to the studio? What time you going to the studio?
Right.
They're going to do 12 songs here, 12 songs there. Go by somebody else's studio, do one there. They ain't nobody calling and asking what you going to get paid up front. Ain't nobody.
Studio hopping.
The business part of it went crazy. It wasn't no splits. Wasn't no like, it's like if you was doing it. And it created this whole scene of hip hop that really made hip hop rush up. Atlanta made hip hop like get faster and faster, because the more you gave these kids access to that studio, they wasn't doing one song, they was doing 20. They wasn't doing 20, they was doing 40. And then the mixtapes started to be crazy, like Drama in them mixtapes. The mixtapes got so popular that the label had to come back and be like, you know what? In your plan, let's go back and do a mixtape.
Right.
Because you're gonna need that to be successful,
to it.
right?
Can we give props to Outkast and Dungeon Family
Absolutely.
for what they've
for sure.
done for really like putting Atlanta on the map culturally from a hip hop perspective as well? And now they have like the best-selling rap album of all time, which is
13 million
Buffalo.
albums.
Like you
Outkast.
can't deny the fact of what they brought together in the community.
Yep. This community built by me, JD, Jazzy Faye, Shanti, Blueface. I mean, everybody built this community, and we protect it. Like that's why we all still cool. That's why we all still show up for everybody's birthdays or whatever you need for us to show up to. We never really got raided with each other, and that's really the Atlanta way of doing music. Like, it's a community way of doing it, and we raised it that way, and it's still that way.
That's what's happening. Listen, we've been having a great conversation. I see some people lurking in the background. You know how we like money.
Big brother, what's up? How you doing? Tig, what's up, baby? All right.
Jay the Kiss, J1 in the middle. What's happening? We talking about new Atlanta, old Atlanta music. Well, being from New York, what was your perception of Atlanta from outside of Atlanta?
I'm a little different. I was down here back in the, you know, I used to be around. I was down here and able to see it formulating actually before it, you know, before it got into the chokehold. But it was still the same kind of unity though. You know, Puff used to have the games against So Def, the So Def Bad Boy weekends and organized noise. You go over Rico's crib, play ball. It was a different feeling. I think that's why the music felt different. But it was always love, you know what I mean? They was just serious about bringing a movement, and you know, once they got in the door, they kicked the hinges.
That is a fact.
The hinges was always loose though, because it was always people act like Atlanta just start getting busy. They've been getting busy.
They've been putting in work like that. But we were talking earlier about how, you know, the hip hop is a young person's game, and I know you in the game now, sir. How do you take into account?
I don't like that.
He from Atlanta, by the way, too. I'm gonna make sure you're gonna say you're gonna claim him.
And I don't like it because that's what it is. It's just, you know, this is the only genre of music that we make territorial, that we break down into East Coast and West Coast. Is a whole bunch of little umbrellas under the original umbrella of this culture.
Right.
And they don't do that to no other genres of music. There's no East Coast country, West Coast pop, or, you know what I mean?
Right.
Or, you know, so just got to be mindful of that, because when they put us against each other, it's denser. The strength is in the numbers, so. You know what I mean? But you're right, it is a young person's game.
Yeah, and he's beginning his journey with an iconic history behind him, but as we pointed out, from Atlanta. What is that like in reality for you as you start your journey?
As it being a young person game?
Well, I mean, just the whole...
Just being from the, you know, you damn near from Atlanta.
I think it's just a different culture. Atlanta got a different culture to it. It's way different from New York, but it's embracive. It's a lot of like history here. It's a lot of stuff that go into it. Same for New York. So I think it's all just a matter of social media do a big job in bridging the gap. So we could see what it's like down here. They could see what it's like up there. So it's a matter of bridging it. And you see it with how everybody dress, everybody using the same beats and sounds and stuff. So I think that's all it is.
Brat, I mean, you're from Atlanta at this point. I know you're from Chicago. What was the transition like for you? Like, again, he mentioned going up and down on national, so you got the authentic Atlanta experience.
I grew up in church, so I couldn't even cuss till I came down here with JD. You know what I'm saying? So like,
you was cursing before you came. Don't do that.
No, I was cussing, but I couldn't cuss out loud.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. The transition for me, I think everybody that get around JD turn into JD. Like everybody, he's got this personality of this. No, for real. Even Shanti used to be like, oh my God, you are like a girl JD. She used to just look at me like I was crazy because I absorbed whatever it is he has, that thing. It's so like magnetic that you damn near turn into JD. Like I used to start chewing he chew his tongue all the time. When he worked and stuff, he just looked, and I used to catch myself, my tongue used to be sore because I started chewing my tongue. I'm like, what? Yeah, but you really, so I think the person that you have yourself around, like he was my mentor. Like I looked up to him, he discovered me, so he believed in me, so I wanted to be everything JD. So everything he taught me, I wanted to absorb it and just learn it so I could be the best I could be. So I feel like that's what my transition was. I was still Brat because whatever he saw in me, like I was the tomboy. I grew up in church. Like I had a huge heart. I used to want to be real bad. I used to be bad, but on the low. JD brought the bad out on the records. So I got to be my ghetto hood ass self and shoot up on my records. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's the Chicago. Yeah, the Chicago in me. It was in me, and I got to do it sneakily. But when I came here, I got to put it on the records and really talk about how I was in Chicago. So, you know, I don't know if I answered your question, but I just know everything that JD does. We all, even Usher, we all turned into JD. Like whether you're a girl or a boy, you gonna turn into JD because you want to be great like that. Like I used to sit and watch him make beats and stuff, and I begged him for a beat machine. I was, please give me one. I want to make beats. I want to do everything JD do. So he eventually got me a beat machine. But the thing about him, he didn't show me how to work it. I said, okay, I got this beat machine. Show me what to do. He's like, nah, I ain't doing that. I'm like, well, how I'm going to learn how to do it? I had to sit and be at the studio and just pay attention. So that's one thing that I learned. He ain't going to teach it to you. You got to pay attention.
Did she learn?
That's fire.
Oh no! I mean, she already had Brat played drums in the church. Don't let her like she just went to church. She was up there in the band playing the drums.
Right.
And she's a very musical person, so she had all of this stuff in her already. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, you as a entrepreneur or CEO, whatever it is, you gotta crack the code of the people that's around you, right? Like Brat saying that I brought out the ghetto in her. That shit was just reserved when she was around me.
It was in there.
Right.
As soon as we went to Chicago, it was a little smaller than me running up to the car like, dog, listen, you and I hood, we got you. And this had a strap in his hand. This where Brat live at, the west side of Chicago. Like, once I went to where Brat was at, me as a visionary about her project, it just opened me completely wide. Like, oh, this is what we need to be talking about. Like, Brat being on Old National Highway and being in Atlanta, this ain't Atlanta. This ain't my house. You know what I mean? Like, all that gang shit that's in Chicago, Brat is part of this shit. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to, you know. But I'm just saying, I want people to understand that's where she come from. She's just here in Atlanta, but where she come from is where she come from. And you, like I said, you gotta get out of your own little comfort zone to start realizing what's happening with other people if you if you want to open them up into hip hop. Because that's what hip hop, that's the food of hip hop. The food of hip hop wants to know where you from, what you doing, what street y'all on, what you was doing before you was rapping, what you doing while you rapping. All of this shit is like the food, right? And that's what I'm saying. I feel like we was doing all that shit here in Atlanta.
And I think that's what put us on the map also, is just like, you know, another story to hear, you know, another different story to hear, whether it's from a kid's standpoint, whether it's from a girl's standpoint, whether it's from a TLC standpoint. We found our thing. We found like, okay, we can incorporate other, you know, the music or the samples, whatever else, but then I think what me and JD embarked on in Atlanta, maybe we had the time to on the whatever it was, but we turned into songwriters, and the songwriter part of it is what they didn't know that we were doing, whether it was TLC or Mariah Carey, like write the songs out before they get there, have somebody else sing them, so when they get there, the songs are done, boom, right? So we was doing that for the longest, like, and whether it was rap music or whether it was illegal, whether it was another recreation, we still had like New York at that point for us, like it was like that. Like when you plug up the cord to it, you know what I'm saying? Because I was up in Giant Steps, I was up in like everything in New York, because when I first did Rowdy with LA, it was like, well, let's do the label in New York. I'm like, why would I do that when I'm in Atlanta? I don't want to do that, you know what I'm saying? Because when you're in Atlanta, you were so Atlanta. I'm talking about we were so Atlanta. That's why they call us country, because I don't think I even went out of the country until I was 27. When Lenny Kravitz told me one day, nigga, you country as f***, you ain't left out of here? Like, no, what is it out there? And until you started to go out and see other stuff and to bring it back here, and I'm like, oh, okay. Right. That's how we can have all these different artists coming here. That's how we can bring people, like the artists we're working with, whether it's Madonna, whether it's Mariah, biggest artists in the world, they wanted to come here. Because they felt like it was something down here that we was getting from down here that they wasn't gonna get nowhere else. And for real it is. It was a certain ignorance. It was a certain bubble over Atlanta. Like you was Atlanta, you was full Atlanta. And like, you know, the songs you were translating on different people, you know, if you listen to the rhythm flow on Mariah's songs, ballads, they're like his rap flows. Right. So it's just that one thing, man. I think that we got to hold to our own shit finally, and we got to hold to our own shit, and then we started embracing it. And the more we started embracing it, everybody else started wanting it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So as we sit in this amazing historical exhibit that y'all put together and curated to showcase the impact of Atlanta hip hop over the past 50 years as we celebrate the 50th year of hip hop, and I'm gonna start with you, Kiss. Where do you feel the next 50 years is headed for hip hop, and what role does Atlanta have to play in that?
I think the next 50, we could ease up or make our journey to the next 50 with more originality, more authenticity, having more respect for the culture. You know, sometimes they give some of the younger people, some of the older people, when you get to a certain financial status in your life, you stop really wanting the same intel and doing the same homework that you did when you didn't have a nickel. You know what I mean? And that kind of messes things up. But I think if we tighten a couple of the screws, you know, keep evolving, because everything in the world involves hip hop, you know what I mean, involves this culture, we could get another 50. I mean, we definitely gotta do some furniture moving and some trimming up of the, you know what I mean? Yeah, some refurbs.
Jay, because you're gonna be a part of this wave in the next 50, sir.
I think honestly we just gotta separate the rap business from the hip hop culture. Like that's a big thing right now with it. It's more rap culture. I mean rap business. Like everything is business geared versus culture. Like he was just saying, Dallas was saying, Atlanta has a culture to it that you don't understand. Like I happen to be able to learn it and understand it from staying out here, going up to the studio. I spent weeks up there with JD and I'm like, you get what I'm saying? Like that, like versus like even New York got its own culture, LA got its own culture, but the way the industry is now, even just from watching as a fan, you see it's more about the business. How can we make it a money thing? Like they don't no longer, you got artists in New York, Chicago, Atlanta, LA that all look alike. It's no longer like, this is what this looks like over here, let's amplify it. It changes, it takes what it takes what it has and it just puts it in a one big pot of gumbo versus like, say if I come to the studio out here to make a party song is fun, it's easier because of the culture of Atlanta. Right. Versus you in New York, it's more like, New York is rough, like, so you gotta like, it's almost forced, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's almost a forced feeling, so I think you just gotta separate the business of rap from the culture of hip hop and what hip hop is. It is the clothing, it is the way we talk, the way we act, how we party and stuff like that.
Right. Hip hop professional?
Yes. So I would just say, you know, given the rich history of Atlanta, right? Civil rights movement, what that meant. In my generation, like, we learned from our elders. We might not always agree with them, right? But we learned from our elders and people that came before us. So one of y'all, you, JD or Dallas, talked about bridging the gap. I think it's really incumbent upon, you know, the people that were here in the 80s and the 90s who laid the foundation. We need to get with the new and upcoming artists. And we need to respect one another, and we need to build and grow together.
It's got to be a two-way street, 100%. Though. You know, they
got
to want the game also.
It.
Yeah.
I agree, but we got to put it out there. You know, you got to at least try, because there's something to be said from learning. And I know technology has changed the game. Things are differently, how you record, how you put music out, streaming, but still understanding the culture, to your point, and the art and the history of Atlanta and where we need to go. I think that's really important, right? And then the last thing I'll say is, again, going back to the economic empowerment perspective and what the Atlanta hip-hop industry has given, right, to this community. We need to bring in corporate so that they can build out. So Atlanta is known, when you get off the airplane, you know, you see the Atlanta music scene, or there's, you know, buildings or areas or streets dedicated to bars, clubs, restaurants, museums. Like this museum that I helped curate with Dallas and JD, it's got to live.
You need to live here.
But this is a pop-up. It's a pop-up. This has got to stay. The history, it's got to stay, and it's got to be shown.
I think for you, you know, it's interesting that Kiss is here, because I feel like Kiss, well, let me ask you, when you started rapping over like down south beats, what was the mindset? Because you did it first.
I don't know if you told me, somebody told me, I don't know if somebody said, yo, you need to start rhyming on them joints. And
yeah, because you like, you know, you top 5 dead or alive lyrical rappers, right?
Absolutely.
Out of New York. that's
Appreciate that.
in a lyrical space
Facts.
that don't pick them type of beats, right? Nas don't pick them type of beats, and Hov very seldom pick them type of beats, right? You start rapping over beats that was just 808 driven, like Big Cap and Lil Jon, and you know what I mean, just straight 808 beats. And I feel like you was the gateway for young New Yorkers to start realizing, like, shit, this ain't the 80s, dog. This ain't the 90s.
That's a fact.
Kiss done went over here. We got to get over here, right? Because that's when I feel like that's when New York, all the young rappers in New York, they start paying attention to more like them type of beats as opposed to just like, you know what I mean? Like A$AP Rocky and all of them, they start paying attention to that type of, that down south Harlem type of mixture. But I've been heard you was the first person that I heard.
Yeah, you smarter. You too smart for human beings. Like Dallas said though, how he didn't go out the country till he was like 27. I think a lot of the dudes now is stuck in the bubble of where they is so lit and so much spinning and
Nobody
popping
see
and
more.
going. They just stuck where they at. Yeah, and you don't get to see it. I'm down here moving around. I'm in all of these clubs and everywhere. I'm hearing all of these music. I'm like, I don't want to just keep going to all these parties and not hear. I got rhyme on some of these. Yeah, that's how I'm gonna hear myself down here. You know what I mean, Lil Jon? Let me get on
Yeah,
there.
but what's
D
crazy
Money,
is we were like that in New York. We were like the same way in New York. Like every break beat, every giant step, every like DJ Premier, every like record Pete Rock did, every The Bomb Squad. Like for us, that was like, you know, the most exciting element of hip hop, period. And so like for us to be able to incorporate that, even the Goody Mob, you know, and Rico and them going, you know what? Now this shit ain't gonna sound like bass music. We're gonna make this shit sound like Wu-Tang, right? So when you start to incorporate the gumbo is the most magic shit you could ever happen, all right? 50 Cent, what was he from? We didn't know where he was from when he first came out. We was like, this from the South, the West, New York. When you ever find me in the club, you're like, this mouth sound a little funny. Like, where the fuck is he from? He's from Atlanta. He's talking like Atlanta pimp. So, like, when you start to, like, when the gumbo started to go together, which was the same thing that started happening with me and JD. When I started to make records that sounded like, okay, I was involved in New York hip hop in my shit. I was taking a bunch of samples. I was doing like with this Y'all So Stupid, or what I was doing like even TLC. I was just taking everything that the Bomb Squad was doing. I was like a Hank Shockley fanatic. I wanted to work in Green Street because of that. I wanted to go to New York. I didn't want to go here, right? But now it's changed to us being that way. Like people want to come to Atlanta and they want to work at Patchwork. They want to work where people don't work that before. They want to be in the element. They can feel the energy when they get here.
Yeah.
And it's fine for that to transfer. Every few years, every amount of years, something's gonna transfer somewhere else. Like even when he started doing the Brat and he started doing Bow Wow, LA was heavy. So he's like, well, shit, well, I'm gonna have me some of that too. So he was incorporating that music. Yeah, like you listen to Funkified, that was the same thing that was happening on the West Coast, but brought down here in the South. You know what I'm saying? Jermaine was like, hey, let's take that gumbo they got and bring it here. Any record you bring, and I tell all this to the youngsters right now, right? If you bring a record to Atlanta that sounds different as I don't care if it's I'm a piano, Afro beat, whatever it is, and you put Atlanta on it, that shit gonna sound crazy and new. Because what he gonna say and what he gonna talk about, especially if you're young, going back to the youngsters, what they're gonna talk about is some shit you gonna be like, what the fuck are they talking about? Now it's got this unique beat to it, and now it's something fresh. Now it's Bubba Sparks being ugly or whatever the fuck it is. But it's something that sounds different than what's happening here all the time.
Yeah, we embrace ghetto in this city.
Oh yeah, we love the ghetto. Is it?
Flat out, a little bit.
But it's not ghetto.
We really embrace ghetto. Like
Love
if you ghetto in Atlanta, you damn near gonna be the #1 artist in the world. The more ghetto you is in this city, the more pop. I swear to you, right? I'm gonna tell you, because he just said that and it just made me think about it. Didn't Sean Garrett told Lil Jon when he made he was like, man, we wanna make some ghetto Michael Jackson shit. And that's what Usher is. It's like if Michael Jackson came to Atlanta, like he said, if Michael Jackson would have came to Atlanta and worked with me or Dallas, that's what would have happened. He would have been on some 808 and Michael Jackson would have been in a whole nother space. That's what happened with Mariah. I went in the studio with Mariah Carey, I put 808s on her records. And then it's like, oh, you saved Mariah Carey's life. I'm like, damn, no, I didn't. She was already doing what she's doing. I just made Mariah a little ghetto.
Little that gumbo, that Dallas we talking about.
It was the same reason
So I
when-
started
when-
riding
when-
around in the car with Brat and shit. You know what I mean?
It was the same thing when I did Michael Jackson and Biggie, right? So I go to this session.
Oh, wow.
Like I hit Puff. It's like, well, work with Michael. He wants something harder. He wants something cool. Can I get Big to come out here? He's like, shit, you kidding me? Boom, on the plane. So when he goes in and does the rap, because I was thinking first stretch. I was like, we need to be somebody. It's Michael. He wants somebody in hip hop. Can't be Big. Maybe somebody like, you know, more commercial friendly. He's like, no, I want it hard. I want it hard. Big comes in. Me and him sitting out in the car. He's rapping the rap to me. Listen, motherfucker, I got bust the phone. Motherfuckers chasing me. Ain't making a profit seed. I'm a killer. I ain't joking. Indo smoke got me. I was like, oh shit. I don't know. That shit might not work for Michael Jackson. We go in the studio. Let's just play it for him. See what he says. Plays it. Michael go, oh my God, this is wonderful. This is exactly what I wanted.
Whoa,
So now you got the South. You got him. You got Michael. You got us come together on the record. And I
Gumbo.
think that's what the gumbo's about. You know what I'm saying? When you
Well,
put
listen.
that gumbo together, that's what it is.
I've told you this many times. I've never told you this. I'll talk to you all the time. One of my favorite records. What's my record I always tell you about?
Hating your blood.
Hating Your Blood.
I'm gonna tell you. So
My
I was
God.
gonna speak on that too. I was gonna say this now. Hating Your Blood to me is me making records based on sound, because kids got a distinctive voice.
Facts.
That if you think you
I
gonna
always
use
thought
Kiss-
if you put that together, thinking of Free's voice in my book. Go ahead. No.
I'm just saying, like, so when I'm making this record, I'm in my head. I'm just in my head. I hear the sound. I hear these different places, because I done did what I did the hook part, and I'm thinking about, yeah, I ain't gonna sound right on the hook. I'm thinking I should get somebody that's gonna sound right on the hook, and I ain't even realized that these was beefing when I put them together in the song, right? So Kiss.
How powerful it is, though. Yeah,
Kiss
go
and
ahead.
Freeway, they in a full beef, like rap beef. And I haven't got these two on the song together. And like I said, I was just literally just trying to make a song based on what I heard in my head. I wasn't even trying to I wasn't trying to do no slick shit and put y'all in no kind of position or nothing. I just was like, I'm trying to.
It ain't even that. I thought, without speaking to Free, he had to think the same thing I thought. If JD, screw all that other shit. If
JD making
he
it-
hear us on this, we can get back to that later. We gotta do this shit. Like, if he spoke to Free and said, I don't know if he said I'm gonna put Kiss on it,
Right.
but he told me I'm like, I'm cool. The song is knocking. I didn't do
One
my
of my-
shit.
yeah, that- dog, that's-
I wasn't even thinking like that. I know when you send something, if you hear something, you better get that done.
I ain't know nothing about it. I didn't really realize it till I asked Freeway to do the hook, and Kiss verse came, and Freeway was like, where I get the rap? And I was like, I ain't really want you to rap on the song. I just want you to do the hook. And I could tell his body language was like, oh, this. You know what I mean? And that's when I really like, damn, these is beefing. I should let this have a verse. But in my head was just like, I hear a song. I just
Right.
know what I wanted the song to sound like.
I'm happy you heard that song. So we're talking ATL's influence. All of this wonderful people here. The world put on notice. They done gave Usher a Super Bowl,
Yes.
which is amazing.
Yes.
As we sit back and just say, damn, all these people he could bring out, whether he chooses, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
it's just amazing. Is that a testament to the power and influence of Atlanta in its music?
I think what's going to be shown, he can tell you the
I think
big part
that's
of it, but I
artistry.
think what's going to be shown and what he's going to display, like even if you look at the shows he's doing in Vegas, he's got the skaters, he got Atlanta. One thing about Usher, he ain't really letting go of Atlanta in his shows. So like, I don't know I know Jermaine's going to be involved in it to that capacity too, but it's definitely going to be. He has to. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You know what it is. It just is what it is. Like to get the show to be the right show need to be. Couldn't do it without his involvement in the first place. So like, just the setup of what it is, it's gonna represent Atlanta.
It is.
That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the it's interesting for me because I just look at it like I was telling him this the other day. Like, it's just time. It don't have nothing to do with I mean, he's talented. He is who he is. But at the end of the day, it's like, who else? You know what I mean? It ain't even about. We should be surprised, I guess, from a little standpoint of it. But I'm not surprised. 'Cause I'm like, who else? Who else is it? You know what I mean? He skates, he sings, he raps, he dances. He's in Vegas. You know what I mean? It don't make really no sense to be talking about nobody else. If you and by the way, I feel like that about Atlanta, myself and Usher. And I was telling Dallas and Shanti before we got here what I did on my birthday. I went on this journey, and in that journey that I went on, the journey told me that it's, you know, if anybody starts to maneuver in a way that they don't want to give you your flowers or talk about Atlanta or deal with what's happening in modern day right now, they just automatically a hater because you don't have no reason to overlook us. You don't have no reason to say somebody else's name.
Right.
You don't have, it's no reason for you to do it, right? If you start doing that, you just don't want it. You got hate in your blood. That's just what it is. It's flat out. I'm saying for real. Like you have, it's like if you have a conversation.
Come on, man.
I'm telling you, if you have a conversation about rap, right?
Right.
And you leave Kiss off, you are out of your f***ing mind, right? But that's in hip hop, they know this, right?
Right.
Atlanta's been a space where people have tried this. They had this hate where they didn't want to actually get to that space, right? So they say this to me all the time, JD, I don't think you get your flowers. Cool. I might then get my flowers when you thought I should. But in this day and time right now, if you don't do it now, you just hating. Because I don't give you no reason to avoid me. You know what I'm saying? If you avoid me or Atlanta at this point in time, you are just in a space that you don't want to see life as it is. And that's how I'm saying about Usher, right? It's the same thing. Like, I looked at the three other people that's possible, right? You could take Drake, right? You could pick, you could have picked Chris Brown, right? It's three other people that's out there that could do that. But they also not already there. He's already there.
Yeah.
He's already there, and he's already doing what the Super Bowl needs for the Super Bowl
Every weekend.
You know what I'm saying? So it automatically becomes a thing like, who else? Right? And yes, Usher's gonna do what Atlanta does.
That's right.
Ghetto that motherfucker.
and if I could just add, like, I was at LaFace when we signed Usher.
Right.
He was 14. You know, he was born in Chattanooga, but he was raised in Atlanta.
Right.
And to JD's point, like, everything about Usher is Atlanta.
Facts.
And so, yes, it's time for him because he has put in the work. And the one thing I will say, he was signed to LaFace Records. So let's not forget the groundwork that LaFace put in from a record company perspective. Like, LA and Babyface, like, our artists got in rehearsals. They did artist development.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We
did interview coaching. Like, we did what we had to. We literally, to your point, moved Usher to New York for 6 months to live with Puff to soak up the culture. But going back to Atlanta, like, I've never seen anybody work harder than that kid.
Right.
And now, as a grown man, like, I love the fact that he's incorporating skating. That's all Jelly Beans. Like, he recreated Jelly Beans literally at a party in LA earlier this year. So, like, everything, yes, it's going to be immersed in Atlanta culture because Usher is Atlanta.
Yeah.
But let's not forget the blueprint that was laid out with LaFace Records and what we did for our artists. And Usher is a master, just like JD and just like Dallas. Like, whatever they put their heads to, they're going to master it. And he mastered the way that we were doing it here. And he became a fabric of the culture of the city. And he deserves all the flowers he's getting.
We're all looking forward to it, and ATL will be representing. Jadakiss, thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me.
J1, thank you. The professional, Shanti Dawes, Dallas, Brat. Hey, Ma.
Hi.
JD.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Listen, this has been another edition of Rap City Beyond the Basement. Pull up on us for the next one. You heard? What's happening? It's your man Big Tigger doing big things. Welcome to Rap City Beyond the Basement. We are celebrating 50 years of hip hop, the 50th anniversary all year long. We've been keeping the party going, the conversation going, recognizing where hip hop is and where it possibly can be going for the next 50 years. Joining me at the table today, to my immediate right, Fab is in the building. Loso.
Man, I'm happy for you that they let you out of the basement.
How about that?
I made it to the dining table.
Beyond.
I even came upstairs.
How about that? I'm outside.
Right.
The lifestyle specialist himself, Kenny Burns, is here. What's happening, man?
Dream is real. Good to see you.
Please
champ.
believe it. Bow wow.
Dog, what up? What up, Tig?
What up, Weezy?
I'm cooling. I'm here.
And ATL royalty, Mr. DJ Jelly. How are you, sir?
What's happening?
Yes, sir.
What's good?
Yo.
Listen, everybody sitting at this table has got some time spent in the game. Some equity and some equitable time spent in the game. How do we see the business of hip hop as it turns 50?
I think it's grown. I think it's expanded. I feel like hip hop has touched everything. I don't think there's nothing that hasn't been influenced or brought into advertising without using some hip hop culture or some hip hop feel, or just we take everything and add our flavor to it, and I think people see that outside the culture and use it as well. So I think it's grown, it's evolved, it's broadened. It's become a universal language, and I believe it's going to continue to do so.
Yeah, I don't know, like when I first heard it's like that, and that's the way it is. When I was 10 years old, it sent shockwaves through my body. And then I fast forward to when I was 13, about to be 14, and LL Cool J came out with I'm Bad, and then he came out with I Need Love in the same summer. And I'm like, wait. But then Rakim just took me out. And I think I've been living off that energy to the day. I mean, we've had greats, we've had moments, but it's just like, in a weird place, I feel, for the first time ever.
The state of hip hop?
The state of hip hop.
Expand.
I just don't think that it's our soundtrack to our lives anymore. I think that, now the minute and 30-second, grabs for jingles, what used to be jingles, right?
Oh, it used to be
yeah.
In between the songs.
You feel me? Or interlude, right?
Interlude,
I feel like now it's just not the soundtrack. And we're at risk, I think, for the first time ever, like losing like our art form, you know what I mean? Like we didn't have a number one until what, June?
I spoke on that.
Uzi Vert, he didn't even rap.
I spoke on that.
That was the first number one.
Was it 90 seconds? 2 minutes?
You feel me?
So Bow, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but if you do, is that because of the financial success?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, just to piggyback on what Kenny was saying, I definitely spoke on it. You know what I mean? I definitely said that, it is a weird space. It is weird, and it's like the artists are exposable. It's quick, it's fast. Everybody want the bag, and all the songs are just, all the shit sound the same. Like, I'm gonna just say what it is. Especially, growing up in Atlanta and listening, going to the clubs out here, all this shit just sound the same. It's like nobody's really, I mean, you got some artists that dare to be different and dare to take it somewhere and take it some places, but at the same time, the women running this shit right now. That's just how I feel. So I see the game is definitely it's expanded. It is different. It's a different time, but it is, it is what it is.
But it's so funny about you say the women taking over, which is good. To me, it's a good thing because now maybe, it's evolving because now hip hop is in everywhere. It's in everything. It's in country music. It's everywhere now.
Yeah.
So it's a part of everything now. So it might be weird, but it's just evolving again.
Yeah. I don't think we'll lose the culture though of hip hop. I think we have too many different businesses and genres of business.
Yeah, and we do stuff outside of just the music as well. So that's really what I was speaking on when I'm saying it's evolving and growing. I think they're speaking internally a little bit, inside the music and our culture and what we're doing inside of it. But I think outside of it, you see it everywhere. You know what I mean? Like our culture is leading.
Yeah, but so now whereas the goal was to be the artist, is now being an artist a step to being a business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Right.
business
That's
came into the play a lot more now. You know what I mean? At the time when he was saying he was listening, I think they were doing it in an art form and something to do, something to express themselves.
We were
something
listening
to
to it.
I'm saying from your perspective. What I'm saying.
Thought he was. You remember, right?
Don't put me in your class. Though. We do different classes. You know what I mean?
We are.
I'm
I'm slightly
but
older.
I'm in a different OG.
I'm slightly older.
All right. Let's get that clear. Wow. But no, what he's saying is absolutely right about how even from him, he wasn't listening from the same perspective as people are listening now. So now, as we include business in it, and mostly everybody's talking about money, and those times where those artists, I don't remember those lyrics really bragging about money, or like, you know what I mean? It was just expressing themselves and you know, trying to be creative within the art form. As hip hop has grown and became a business, people is talking about money. It got to be a certain amount of money, or I ain't going, or it got to be I need my credit on this, and I need that. It's just turned into a business,
right?
And I think that changed hip hop a little bit too. The more it became where everybody's saying, even down to a lot of rappers would say, I ain't a rapper, I'm a hustler. You know what I mean? That it just changed the perspective and changed how it wasn't just about the art form.
Is it possible?
No, you're still a rapper. Bro.
You're still an artist.
Rap.
You're still an artist. Yeah, you're still an artist.
You wouldn't be that good at the art if you're not an artist.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
And Jeezy says that all the time. We were on a panel yesterday, and I'm like, but you can rap your face off. So don't discredit it.
Make these great songs.
Right.
Like that's an art. That's creative.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to take your story and put it into this form if you weren't. I think like it was like downsizing being a rapper. You know what I mean? But everybody wanted to be a rapper. This was their way out of even out of being a good hustler.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This was your way out. So like, don't put it where, you know, you're downsizing it. It's like, all right, I could do this too. Like I'm.
And we were talking offline too, Tig. Like, and I would love to know what you think about like when hustling turned into stealing and scamming. You know what I'm saying? It's just in a weird space. You know what I mean? And I think that like, because Fab and I were talking over there, it's like at the end of the day, like you're not even aware that this is seeping into like our kids.
Man,
I
was just about to go there.
It's programming.
I was just about.
I was talking about soon to be teenagers.
Take out the responsibility of that, but everything we are doing is messages and programming for somebody else. They're listening and intaking this.
There you go. Come on, T. Listen, go on, break it down, bro.
Do we sound like our parents?
No, because we created hip hop. Our generation made it $1 trillion business, and they're gonna f the money up. They're gonna f the money up.
Sound like our parents.
No, but
Do
but
we
it's not,
sound
but
like our parents?
No,
You
our
get
parents,
older, you gotta mature. You
but
think
they
in a
didn't-
different way.
They bastardized it because they didn't understand what we
They
were
had
creating.
come from a different
That's what I'm
generation,
saying.
of course.
So us,
their
we
parenting
actually
is different.
created. So
Yeah,
we're
still
not telling
parented.
we're not telling you not to be free.
Yourself,
We
yeah.
created this playground for you to be free and express yourself. But when you come to the table, the only way is to be a gang member and to tattoo your face or to talk about the ops.
Well,
you got suburban kids like shooting and killing because they see and they hear it all the time.
Ops.
Yeah, the ops. Exactly.
But you know, you have to look at the industry itself. The music industry is
They see what's
basically
popular,
going for
what works.
the lower fruits. They're gonna target towards black culture anyway. Like, well, as long as they keep talking about killing and hoeing, then we good.
That's exactly
and
what's happening.
And they're gonna channel that. And the people that are
And
in
it's
our
also
generation,
the audience, because if it wasn't selling or
absolutely.
popular, they wouldn't be able to. You know what I'm saying? So it's one hand washing the other too. Like they putting it out there, but the audience is receiving it and making it popular.
But yeah, but they pushing it though. They marketing it. They
can't push it if it don't work, though.
Hey, and they're gonna saturate it, and they're gonna keep
that's what
pushing
we
it. And the
doing right
people
now.
that are in positions, that are in those different business positions, who've been in hip hop, they lazy. They're like, well, that kid sound just like Future.
we
We
gotta get
good.
him.
No, that's a
she
fact.
popping up. Like,
That's
oh
a
girl,
fact.
they letting it go too. So it's more like, well, we don't care because that's what they like. No, that's what we pushing.
Nah, but also too, back growing up in hip hop, seeing hip hop start. Well, I didn't see it start, but I participated at a very young age, right? But the point I'm trying to make is you had responsibility as a leader in the community. Like they wasn't signing things that were trash. They were signing the best rappers ever. If A&Rs in the buildings were to walk out right now, they would have to go with what we wanted.
What buildings are A&Rs in?
Well, whatever ecosystem they
whole,
participate in.
It ain't no A&Rs.
Ain't none.
No A&R.
They exist.
Well, there are people signing this bullshit.
Yeah, that's it, but they are not A&R.
They've cut the A&R ties.
Yeah, they're finding something
now
that's moving.
anybody could be like, go to
Okay,
somebody and say,
manager,
yo, I got a guy, and
managers,
make the connection.
label heads. I mean, I know I have mentees that are, and they send me the music all the time. Like, don't send me this if you don't want me to tell you what I really think, right? But we're the OGs.
You got to give them
Nobody
honest
stepping up.
opinions and not just go with the flow of everything.
So, but when we offer honest opinions, sometimes it's classified as, oh, we the
It's
old
hate.
haters.
Yeah.
Nah, but we create. How can you hate on something you created?
Because it's different.
No, it's not different.
I'm not
It's
saying
nasty.
I'm not saying you're hating on it, but because it's different than what we
I
grew
think
up
it
to.
just sound like hate to them because you're not
Correct.
going along with what they're saying.
It sounds like hate
It's
to
just
them.
an opinion too.
Yeah. It's just that.
Hate is an opinion too. I
Yeah,
guess
it's
at
just
some
that.
point.
The Bow touched on something that I agree with, and I brought up a lot, like where I say I think lots of music is disposable.
Ringtones.
We still, to this day, can walk in a club and pop off a song from the 80s, 90s, 2000, like you could, and it'll tear the club up. And I struggle to find
In this era.
songs in this era, like
classic.
2020, that we're gonna be
feel like
popping
that
in
too.
2050.
I
said that.
Should I even ask my kids that? They looking at me
told
like,
you.
yeah, whatever. Yeah.
You'll hear that.
Though.
Yeah.
Time
It's
will
hard.
tell.
I
said that.
listening, I don't hear it, but you also have to see what's their classic, what's the new classic for them. They're not; those songs are not classic to us because.
But music, like I
didn't
saw
live
somebody,
through
I
those
don't remember who
songs.
said it.
And it's the time.
Just the way the music is consumed now.
Oh, yeah.
You had to go stand
They
in
might
line.
not even care about classic.
You had to go stand
They
in
might just-
line. You
everything to
you
them is-
lived
they
with a
getting it,
song.
flushing it out fast.
You live with
Everything
it.
is
Just
fast
this
paced.
shit it out,
They
move
getting
to
it,
the next
boom.
one. They might not even care about classic on it. That might be some old shit.
The only,
They might not even care
the
about
only
something
thing I see
classic.
touring going forward
You think
is
a
Playboy
20-year-old
Cardi,
think about something classic?
Uzi maybe. I think the punk rock side of hip hop is the only thing that's like gonna be down the line.
Travis's.
You know, Travis Scott's. You know what I'm saying? I think Baby's gonna tour. But I don't see much touring 20, 30 years from now. I'm in fear for hip hop 50 years. I don't think it's gonna be just like rock in the 80s and early 90s when End of Corn
How
and
about
Limp
that?
Bizkit and all those groups. After that, rock went away. It's an indie genre now.
Yeah.
How was rock the biggest form of music and it's an indie genre? It can happen to hip hop.
Hip hop happened.
No, for sure. But
We
hip
did.
hop can
Hip-hop
also
did.
go away. If
But
rock
right, I
evolves.
see what Kenny's saying
yeah.
too. It's always
He's
that
saying-
possibility.
Yeah, something else could knock them out the
But-
box.
We also got culture around the music too that's a little different than rock to me. Rock
Agreed.
has its layer, of course, but I think hip hop has so many layers down to fashion to.
It's very unique.
It's
Yeah,
just, yeah,
very
it's a
very
different-
unique beast.
It's a different
Yeah,
genre.
And that part of
Shit.
the culture I don't think will ever go away.
Right.
I think it's too cemented. But
Yeah, 'cause
the
it's
music
black
is what
culture.
I'm in fear of. Because what soundtrack do we have to our lifestyle? People always talk about African American. No, hip hop is our culture. Yes,
Right.
we're part of the diaspora, but hip hop is our culture. That's ours. We've made culture around. To his point, to their point, we have businesses, we have fashion, we have
Do-rags.
media, we have all the things. The Baller Alert and Shade Room, the biggest news in the world. Bigger than Fox, bigger than any of
Hip
them.
hop feeds families.
You hear what I'm
Hip-hop feeds plenty
saying?
of
But they will
families.
f that up because guess what? When they start emulating that in the suburbs and them little white kids start emulating that, it's gone too far.
Let me ask you this: if the music is fucked up, does it fuck up all of those things that
I
came
feel like-
off the music is the tree,
Right.
and everything else
That's what I
kind
say,
of.
yeah.
So does it?
I think so. At some
Yeah,
point.
Kenny, and all those people who making those decisions are been in hip hop forever too, and they just we're not teaching no one. I think everybody who's in positions now are not teaching nobody. Oh, they young, they crazy. We
I was
don't.
about
We
to
don't.
say
We
that.
got a disconnect, even
Well-
probably between his
I was about to
generation.
say that. That's facts. Ain't no
Big
guidance. Ain't no
disconnect.
guidance. They,
Like
ain't
Bow,
no guidance.
like you're the young OG at the table.
Yeah.
Do they want to? Do they reach out? Do they listen? Do they want to hear? Do they want to soak up the knowledge? Like you
Yeah.
clearly.
the ones from my era, because we cut from the same cloth. And to piggyback on what you said, I think that's a problem too with a lot of these artists. They never had no big homie. They didn't have nobody in their corner who did it and could guide them and coach them
Guidance.
through it. You know what I'm saying? It's like having a kid and not being there. Your kid gonna be bad as hell. They not
got
gonna
their
know. They not
telephone.
gonna know. You know what I'm
Got
saying?
YouTube.
Like they not gonna know. With me, it's like like a cat like Soldier, prime example. He always, every time he get into some shit, he call me. Or I call him like, bruh.
Every week.
Bruh.
But see, you don't
Bruh.
go, hold on.
Bruh.
You don't go as far as him. Let me tell you, you are great at being a troll. When you want to, when you want to sell.
Yeah, when I want to.
No, listen. When you want to, this is real talk.
Yeah,
And you know, I've known you since you was a kid.
Yes,
You are great at when it's time to sell something, but you also do more good human shit than the troll shit.
Facts.
And the problem I'm having is people can't discern when it's too far. But guess what? We get caught up in the same vicious cycle. That's why, like, you know, having, and this is not what it is purposeful, because the basement, you had conversation around what was going on. He and I were just talking about gangster rap. Gangster rap was our bird's eye view to places we had never seen or experienced. Hip hop did that for you. Now it's like, let me be gangster because it's cool. 6ix9ine, he gave a brilliant example on the side. That man went and got Bloods and all types of shit because the gangster shit was cool. Then when the gangster shit caught up to him, I'm not a gangster no more. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
But they have no code.
Well, they were for him.
They have no standard. No, it did not work for him. He did not in the scheme of things. That's why I always say, why do people choose money over favor? Favor has kept all these, look at what LL did at the BET Hip Hop Awards.
Right.
He taught all them youngins how to put on a show.
Yeah,
He
but
taught
big
them all.
homie, big homie. We back to that. That's missing.
You the big homie now.
All that's missing, Kenny.
So
You the big homie now.
as we evolve in the situation, in the culture, and the business evolves, how do we maintain ownership of it? People are, and everyone has a right to do whatever they want to do. People are selling their catalogs. Companies are buying labels. How do we maintain the ownership of what's rightfully ours, what we grew up on, what we helped build, what we helped raise? And again, I see the dollar bills. Everyone sees the dollar bills. How do we maintain the ownership, or is that going to go away?
Well, ownership to me is key, but I think this time that we in, people and young artists are having more chance to own their shit. I don't think in prior eras they had as much leverage. You know what I mean? That's one thing that technology and going digital has, because you can see the analytics and you could figure your worth just on your analytics. I'm getting this amount of views, I deserve this amount of money. So I think ownership now is, of course, key, and you have even for older artists now, you could go in now and negotiate differently than you could before, because you just didn't have the game didn't have that leverage in it. You couldn't go in there and say your first record deal, say I want my masters. This guy's really going in there and getting their masters on the rip now.
They're getting the information.
But I think that's also part of the lineage of what we've done as well to lead it to that place. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think our work and our telling them that, you know, yo, don't sign these kind of deals, or make sure you're getting your worth, and make sure, you know what I mean, and leads them to go in there like, yo, I want to be an artist, but I want to control it. Or the independent lane of it. It's taught artists to be independent and own their stuff too, and not have to sign to a label as well. So I think ownership is a big play in this, and I think it's going to help keep the culture alive as well. With that being said, ownership of something that ain't worth shit is
it's some shit.
Right? So you gotta make it. You gotta make the culture. You gotta make your music worth something too. You know what I'm saying? Because you can own. You know what I'm saying? Something and it's worth nothing. It's nothing. You have nothing.
I think we need to have black leadership in music again that has vision and is not signing shit just because it's out right now. We got, you feel me? Like, I think, and it has to be black executives because they know their people, they know the culture, and they know more than anybody what we need as a culture. So I think,
but it needs black guys that care, like you're saying.
Yeah,
because if it's a black person who just care about selling, he's just gonna continue selling.
Absolutely,
because it's business.
Absolutely,
it's business.
Generate money.
They like, this is what's selling.
Absolutely.
For me to be a great exec, and the higher ups is gonna fire me if I'm not selling. But you need those execs,
you need the
people
balance.
Who care about, somebody who can balance
and have vision that can take it. Because I think what we do, the one thing this generation, to your point, this generation is mastered. We don't need you labels. We're gonna go right, but at the same time, to go anywhere in life, you need partners, and that's when they gotta come see you.
Right.
But if you're halting something at the door, even to make it better, I'm talking about big business acumen, the way you showing up and how you want to be received, the things that you're right comes with parenting.
That's right.
Right? Like, we do need those A&Rs, those figures in these buildings that are going to speak up.
Right.
But you making money, so you're not saying nothing. And people are dying.
And it's a lot of that.
It's a lot of that.
You're right. It's a lot of them people that ain't saying nothing. That's the problem. We got to move them out the way, Kenny. That's
our
next
thing.
My part. We got to move them out the way.
Val, as we move forward and look to the next 50, who do you feel comfortable with carrying the torch for the next?
For the next 50?
Well, not 50, but immediately
I'm like,
into
damn.
the.
I'm like, there's gonna be 2 more Drizzies by then. Like,
who's currently?
See,
not there, but almost there, on their way there.
I like the cats that I know got it, and I'm just waiting patiently for them to pop. Like, for instance, I love, like, Kendrick might be like one of my favorites right now currently, but I like Simba. I think he hard. You know what I'm saying?
Simba's dope.
Like, I listen to rap. I listen to everything, but Simba hard.
Yeah.
Like,
conversation.
yeah, like
Horse bubble.
like him. You know what I'm saying? But it's the next 50. I don't really see it.
Simba's a great example.
No, I'm just saying that's what I like, but I'm not saying that like, he would be the guy. But I'm saying, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
But there is not any.
I don't think there
I love
is right
artists
now.
of that class.
That's what I'm saying.
Like
Yeah,
how Simba looks like a student.
Right.
You know
Of
what
the
I'm
game.
saying? Like, he looks like a student. He pays attention. He's well versed in hip hop.
yeah.
You know
Come
what
on,
I'm saying?
Simba, save us.
I like guys. I like that. When you're looking for somebody to say, like, I want the future to be my. Those are the kind of artists that. So I would say
I
like somebody. Like
Same here, man. I mean, from Kendrick Simba to
Jid,
Drake,
Jid.
even with Drake, and
Drake,
Lotto if
yeah.
she gets.
Lotto's
If somebody
so
help
amazing.
out though, see, cause she tight.
She is amazing.
She's dope.
She's amazing.
I just don't want to get caught up. Like, you know what I mean? It's
I
like
know.
even
I know.
features. Back in the day, would you have done with a feature with somebody just because it was a good look? Didn't you? Were you a little more methodical about your partnerships?
Yeah, I definitely was. I definitely did features with people, even down to just you having relationships with them. You know what I mean? I'm a relations guy. Like, most of the people that you see me around is, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not just a pick me where you could just say, yo, come do this for me, come do, you know what I mean? So, and with relations, then I know what kind of person that person is that I'm getting on a song. There have been a time or two you did a song, whether it was, you know, somebody that you might be cool with, they putting in, then the song go a little weird, or the person ends up in something. That happens. That's gonna be, you can't control what people do in their lives outside of the music. But for the most part, my features have been connected with people that I'm connected to. You know what I'm saying?
And you've grown
Like,
accordingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Lyricist. And I'm not excluding you, Val.
One of the most underrated stars
Underrated.
ever.
I'm not excluding you,
Superstar.
Val. I'm starting here. Will a return to lyricism ever happen?
I was waiting on that.
I think it's still here in a sense. It's just not always pushed to the forefront. I think people need to hear lyrics that push them, that inspire them, create memories too. They need those kind of, every lyric, every song can't just be party, turn up. You know, you need something that gives you
Some substance.
Balance.
Balance.
Yeah.
You said that earlier,
I
T.
just think that's what people get it. We're getting it in little spurts, and then we've always we just spoke about what's getting pushed and who's pushing it.
Right.
And I think that's what we see. We don't always see lyricism pushed to the forefront, but I believe it's here, and I believe even now we have the power, as the audience has the power to research it. They could search online, they could find those guys.
Actually look up the lyrics.
No, facts.
You know?
If I'm on the tour bus or I'm riding somewhere, I'm having a cool little road trip. I want some Nas, I want some of that. But if I'm in the club, I want the ignorant shit. You know what I'm saying? It's cool
Get
to have a
on my
little.
level.
It's cool to get on some
It's
little
time-
ignorant
it's
shit.
time and
But
place.
but lyrics mean everything to me.
That's when hip
Like,
hop was
everything.
best though. When you had everything.
Everything.
You know what I'm saying? You could go to what you wanted when one thing is just too much, it's always bad. In anything.
You have to have variety.
You have to have
That's
variety.
what we
You have
missing,
to have
variety.
diversity in hip hop. That's
Jelly,
just-
how do we accomplish that in the world of TikTok?
In the world of TikTok, listen, man, we
Blow
got
it up. Blow up Instagram, blow up all.
I mean, because TikTok
is
the reason why songs
Watch BT again.
are breaking.
are 2 minutes
Right.
or less.
That's
Song
right.
used to be 445.
Right. You have a whole story.
Intro.
But Tig,
It'd be a vibe.
Look,
It'd
you
be
said
instrumental
shout out
at
to
the
the
end. You used to vibe to the instrumental at the end, ride to it.
But Tig, you
Nah,
got
not
but
no
you got
more.
radio emulating TikTok because they're
It
gonna play
is.
what's hot on TikTok, so
Radio
that
has-
reinforces
radio
the
has
person.
definitely
Radio it just
started
reinforces it. So
being
that's
like
got
the
to
internet.
stop.
It's the powers
It
that be.
reinforces
It's
it.
the powers that be.
No.
So, as we sit here and reflect and project forward, Jelly, I'll start with you. What old school hip hop song over the last 50 years sends you somewhere, transports you somewhere amazing, a magical?
Come on with it, legend.
I ain't no joke.
I ain't no joke. I used to let the mic smoke, and then I slam it when it's done to make sure it's broke.
It's nothing to be said on that. Like, that gave me goosebumps even thinking about it. Just the power of Rakim, how he just killing it, and the beat. I mean, it was New York, but it was funky. You know, it was everything in one piece of music. Everything was there.
Bow Wow.
Special ed, I got it made.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. Special ed.
Wow.
All the time.
What was it about the song?
He was just talking that shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
definitely
was.
Popping,
Your
your
idol.
highest
Your
idol.
idol. Yeah.
Numero uno. I'm not a Puerto Rican. So y'all, yeah.
Come on,
and it's like, I was like, you know, the girls was on me. I'm like, okay,
Similar.
it was, yeah, I could relate to him, and he was popping that cocky ass shit. Like, I got it made. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's
No
how
doubt.
that's how I felt when I heard that shit. I wanted some money. I wanted bands.
Yeah.
Program.
I want that.
But yeah, that's it. for me.
KB?
When I'm alone in my room, sometimes I stare at the wall, and in the back of my mind, hear my conscience call, telling me I need a girl who's as sweet as a dove for the first time in my life. I see I need love. Damn what? That shit used to have me feeling like I could go get any one of them, Tig.
Fab.
I'm probably as Biggie Juicy. Just the way it felt like the opening line with him saying it was all a dream. And he used to read Word Up magazine, Salt and Pepper, Heavy D up in a limousine. Like it was like he visualized
Painted that picture.
being a rap star and being what he wanted to be, and took his talent and his creativity to now be in that position. You know what I mean? Even down to the video where they was in the mansion party. I mentioned mansion pool party and all that. It just showed like, you know, it just gave you that inspiration that, you know, you could do it. And that's why I wanted. It's plenty of hip hop records, but when that record dropped and hit, and I seen that, and Biggie's imagery, it wasn't like a clean cut. It wasn't what the rap star was supposed to look like. It was, you know what I mean? It was showing you that
And it
it
was
can
so
happen.
Brooklyn.
Yeah. And for me, of course, I'm from Brooklyn, so
So I have a tie.
you know what I mean.
My Philosophy by BDP and Microphone Fiend by Rakim. Microphone Fiend is one long ass verse. There's no hook.
Word. And he didn't curse.
One immaculate long ass verse. And I remember when it came on, and I was like, I was a fiend before I became a teen. Like, and that's how I felt. Like, I mean, as soon as it came on, and then My Philosophy, I'm from the Bronx. So that song, everything, I mean, KRS is on my top 5 of all time. So those two always took me to a place. And as we sit here, again, reflecting on 50 years of hip hop at the BET Hip Hop Awards this year, we showed lots of love. Marley Marl. And to see Marlon get his flowers.
That was dope.
And have the performances of the songs he produced. Where do you get Rakim and LL Cool J?
Facts.
Marley is the producer of our hip hop like godfathers, really.
absolutely.
Like he's the guy that made the beats behind these. These are the guys that we look at as like, you know what I mean, the guys. But he was the guys that, you know, brought them in the studio and told them like
he was the
Up to
architect.
the apartment.
He was the architect.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's how ill.
I
That's
thought
how
it was
ill I
dope
look
that
at it.
Marley got his flowers and some people he influenced also got their flowers, Timbaland and Swiss. Because they're definitely from that tree somewhere down along the line. What's your favorite producer?
That's a great
I
question.
already know mine.
Shit, I know
Come
mine.
on.
Come
Dr.
back
Dre.
around to me, man.
Dr.
Dre, and I say that because he's a DJ. And he got a good ear. He understands. Like he just takes raw talent and builds it up. I love it.
Why are you making faces, Bob?
No, man. Nah, because that was about to be mine.
Okay.
You know what I'm
It
saying?
can still be yours.
No, it still is forever. Like I feel like Dr. Dre to me is the greatest rap producer of all time. Rap producer of all time. Go.
I think Teddy Riley, man, like one of my favorite producers of all time. And he did the show. And that was one of the first records that got me turned and wanted to touch a microphone.
Okay.
So
It Takes Two, too.
yeah, it takes two to make a thing go. Okay.
Yo, producers are so man. It's hard for me to say one, man. It's hard for me to say one, but just because it's.
You can give me three.
They all. Well, all right. So I'll go three now.
Damn, Tig.
I mean,
That's that New York
he said it was hard. I'm trying to make
That
it,
New York
you
shit.
know,
That's that New York
trying to make
shit.
it simple.
That's that New York.
Really?
I also look at producing as not just the guy who makes the beat down to the, you know what I mean? There's certain guys who curate and make the songs
Like
and
Puff.
make the artists, and that's where I was leading into. Puff as being one of those guys because I've seen him, I've witnessed him, you know, be able to be that curator and do it for great artists that we look at the same way I say with Marley Marl. Like for you to be a producer of people who are already great artists means your level of creativity has to be up there too. So I definitely put Puff in there.
Yeah, the Love album is the album of the year. I'm saying it. Hands down.
Okay. Look, this is an advocate for love.
Right.
Yo.
Just so in case we weren't aware.
Might have to be Kenny Burns love too. Like, you know.
Sonically, that album is unbelievable.
It's amazing.
But love is gonna guide you through it. Even now, how this conversation is about hip hop, we all are here because of our love of hip hop.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? We wouldn't even be. You know what I'm saying?
What he's saying.
What he
Love
said.
That's the key. That's gonna save hip hop.
Love
Bring
and
love
balance.
back to the game.
Okay.
You're not loving nothing. You scamming and stealing.
From the game.
Love back.
You scamming and stealing from the game
From
that
the
is
game.
providing this life. Come on, bring the love back.
JD got his flowers. 30 years of So Def.
Nice.
Epic performance. Crazy. Covered, rounded all the bases nicely. Something that you two have definitely, you've been a part of it as well. The mixtape culture got a lot of DJ drama set was a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where would hip hop be without mixtapes?
For me, I know I wouldn't be here at all. I think mixtapes is really what solidified me. It gave me a place to showcase my talent amongst GOATs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like when I was on Clue tapes, from when I graduated to where Drama was doing mixtapes, all of those mixtapes, I think aligned my real core fan base. You know what I'm saying? I was a guy who could make radio records, but my core people were like people who grew up listening to me on mixtape. So I think the balance of both of those two is why I'm, you know, sitting here with y'all today, is because I was able to have a mixtape platform and people to appreciate it on that level.
Jelly, you curated lots of these.
And, you know, even before the dramas and all that, but just really laying a foundation for Atlanta sound. You know, one of the people to sonically help really bring that type of texture and vibe, you know, to the forefront.
Right.
But man, we have to have that. Those are the blueprints to hip hop. Like he was saying with Clue, and you know, all our stuff was from Little John to, you know, Jeezy to Pastor Troy to everybody, just bringing the world like this is Atlanta. This is here's the Bible of it.
You know what's ill too? People look at mixtapes like different from albums though.
Yep.
Because you say like you dropping an album, they'll be like, you say you dropping a mixtape. They be like, yo, mixtape?
Yeah.
Like, you remember even how they say like a picture, you be like, yo, that need to be your mixtape cover right there. Because mixtapes had this like golden thing around it where that was you getting artist's like true, raw, gritty.
Getting the raw.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
People's mixtapes.
Jeezy tapes dropped those. It felt like this the BMF soundtrack right here. Like, you know what I mean?
That
Like,
Thug Motivation was incredible.
Yeah,
There are
one time for
mixtapes
Jesus.
better than albums.
Yeah, a lot of times.
Absolutely.
But to his point, I think you get a different side of the artist you love.
Right.
For me, for sure, it was because I had to making an album. I had to make certain kind of. It was in the early 2000s. You had to make a radio record. Like you literally had to get a singing hook and like it was structured out songs you had to make. Well, mixtape, you just going in there.
Doing what you do.
You just do what you do. You might grab somebody else's beat. You might freestyle here. You might. So it was really like a pure form of you versus your album maybe not always being the purest form, because you just gotta, it's a business. You gotta make an album that sells records and sells singles, and you know, you gotta do that part of it.
And it's instant too, it's fast. You know what I'm saying? Some of the mixtape verses end up being on some of the biggest singles. You know, the artists like it, call him up, man. Let me add that on the official remix. Now, it's just add to the catalog too. But yeah, it's like a rapper's playground when you do your mixtape. You know what I mean?
Even rappers like other rappers' mixtapes. You know, you put on their mixtape before you put on their album.
Yeah,
like,
a lot of people would try things on mixtape they wouldn't do.
Right.
With their record
And the
deals.
process was different. You didn't have to check with nobody.
And a lot of mixtapes too versus albums was the discovery of them, because remember mixtapes you had to get them a certain way, a certain time. You know what I'm saying? So like it wasn't just like going in the store and just buying an album. Mixtapes, you know, they came from your DJ, they came from out of the trunk of a car, they came from the bootleg guy who had the carpet out on the floor. Like, all different, you know what I mean? That discovery was a process.
And the mixtapes came in volumes, so you know you had your TIs in the streets 1, 2, and 3, and you know Lil Wayne might drop. You know, it was like it was exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that Jeezy just put all of his mixtapes on stream.
That was crazy. That was dope.
On
I applauded
stream.
him about that yesterday.
Like he's streaming his mixtape.
That's big, bro. I wish they do Frank Ocean one like that. That's
that
big.
first year, but out though.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I've enjoyed the conversation. Shout out DJ Jelly in the building. My man
Jelly.
Bow Wow in the building.
Tig, what up?
Kenny Burns in the building. And Fabulous in the building. Thank you for joining us. This has been another edition of Rap City Beyond the Basement. We'll be back. What's happening? It's your man Big Tigger doing big things, and this is Rap City Beyond the Basement. From T.I. to Jeezy, Atlanta has impacted the hip-hop culture and continues to do so. We've been celebrating the 50th anniversary of hip-hop. Let's talk about the trap and its impact on the last 20 years of hip-hop. And I could not have this conversation without these brothers sitting here in front of me. To my immediate right here, KP, the Great.
What's happening?
How are you, sir? Don't leave me hanging.
Oh, no,
already.
never
Happened.
No, never that.
DJ Jelly Okay.
Tickster.
That's
How
right.
are you, sir? And the world-renowned DJ Greg Street is 6 o'clock forever.
I got Wi-Fi. Download your data.
Okay.
Greg Street to rock.
What was the first trap song, and or who was the first trap artist?
All right, that's gonna be depending on who you ask. But if we gotta say artists who were from the trap who started rapping, I'm gonna say the Hard Boys for me in Atlanta.
Yep. Hard Boys, CMP, Sammy Sam.
Scarface.
He from Houston. He spent a lot of time. He spent a lot of time in Texas.
I was on Hard Boys though.
Yeah.
Death
Okay.
Row. Yep. They actually sampled the same sample as Fresh Prince.
Yes.
Yep. I was on Hard Boys, but for the big ones who's really going crazy, I would say Scarface, Poison Clan was like in that first wave. The first wave that really blew.
Okay.
South.
Of street rap, like,
Of
and I
street
think
raps.
we just call it street rap.
Ghetto Boys.
Okay.
Ghetto Boys, yeah.
So
Convicts.
was T.I. the one to coin the phrase?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think after we put out Dope Boys in the Trap off the first album, we realized who the fan base was and who he spoke directly to. So anyway, and Greg Street broke that record. Greg Street was the person who matter of fact, props, like Greg was the person who flipped the record over because we put that record on the B-side of the Beanie Man record, I'm Serious.
Okay, I remember that.
Yeah, so but we did that knowing that was the record.
Okay.
Like we couldn't put that record out at first because the label was like, you can't play records about drugs on the radio, and you got this perfectly good Neptune Beanie Man record right here.
You got Pharrell and Beanie Man.
Which was a good record.
Which is a great record, but it premature based on what we knew he stood for and who he spoke to.
Right.
So we wanted to make sure people knew him first. It's like the first record on his first album was a record called Still Ain't Forgave Myself, because we understood what we were talking about and who we were speaking to.
Classic.
So it was like, let's make it human first, so it's not about anything other than art.
Okay. So the trap is what we think it is, right? If for people who have heard it and heard the term and somehow don't understand exactly what trap music is, what is trap music?
Trap music is music made by people who have lived in the environment of selling drugs on some level or another, and were able to articulate what that feeling was and what that scene was, and even what those consequences were.
Listen to KP sound like a professor right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
He breaking it down.
Professor
That's true.
Prather.
That's right. That's what's up.
So I mean, how important is trap music to the history, or the of Atlanta, and its musical impact as far as we talking about 50 years of hip hop? Is Atlanta without trap music?
No, it's not without. That was a very important phase, because really that's when Atlanta really just started breaking out worldwide. Really at that point when Tip came, it was a whole wave of Atlanta music, different kind of Atlanta music that was hitting at the same time in the 2000s, early 2000s.
Yeah, that was our renaissance. Like we had Outkast and we had Goody Mob, we had Crisscross. Like that was what we were known for at the time. That was like those were the biggest records, but that was all. If you look at it, that was professional and shiny, whereas trap music kind of represented the other side of Atlanta.
How important were the mixtapes to trap success?
It was very important. I mean, Thomas and Daniel live mixtapes, the platform they created for the street artists, the trap artists. I mean, it was like they
DJ
actually
Drama.
turned it into a DSP. So now live mixtapes is like Spotify, Apple Music, and all that when you go to it. But it was like the underground version of those DSP platforms.
And we
was
had
free.
DJ Drama, but like you think about the actual physical mixtapes, right? That's kind of not different from trapping, because it's like it's very hand to hand.
Right.
It's people getting things that are exclusive that some people weren't even supposed to be getting.
Oh yeah, before the
Yeah.
digital version,
Yeah.
before the mixtape sites,
Right.
The hand mixtapes, and then the mixtapes turned into
They
CDs.
were actually tapes.
Hold on. There's no way I can do this shit. I just looked at my right and realized like where the mixtape shit really
I was about
jumped.
to- yeah.
Like there was Edward J and there was
King
Camp.
Edward J.
King Edward J, who flooded high school cars.
East side.
East
Yeah,
side
he was
to the
the
south
king of the
side.
east side.
Yeah, and the guys at Camp, DJ Jelly, who's
You know
one of
what
the
I'm saying?
best. One of the best at it of trapping
And
music.
we was out Sunday through Sunday, all up and down Simpson Road, Maddox Park, just working Sunday through Sunday, running up the cars.
Like
With the
little
tape,
drug
a
dealers.
cassette tape.
Real
And
Running
then-
run up the cars.
And then the crazy part that everybody overlooks about the Camp that was really, really smart. All the artists that was signed to Big and the DJs that was part of the Camp, they all worked at the record stores.
Yeah.
Like I heard a story, somebody told me the story the other day that Pastor Troy and Baby D met when Pastor Troy was bringing his music into the record stores because Baby D worked at the record store.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely. That's what we did. We dubbed the tapes, we went to the stores, and we went to the parties all at the same time and trapped the tapes, cassettes,
Yeah.
every day.
Like
Distribution.
That was distribution.
Hand to hand.
We had the product, hand to hand.
hand to
There you
hand. Now, all of this comes on the heel of the South Got Something to Say. Organized Noise is clearly making space here in Atlanta for the rest of the world. How does it change Atlanta's future?
Well, I can say this because as a member of the Dungeon family, where we were at that time and at the Source Awards where that happened, it was we had been so dead set on impressing, everyone outside of Atlanta that we were able to do what they had created, and did it at a level that was it was competitive, and to win that award and get that reaction, it meant that we just had a lot more work to do, and it was just and I'm gonna say this: the thing that I realized is we were in New York by ourselves. So at a point, you need the rest of your crew.
Right.
So it opening up that door was like the natural progression, but it was necessary as well.
So even, because I feel like Some of them Outkast records.
Say it.
What?
Were rather trappy.
Yeah, I mean, but again, it's like
without being, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it was looked at as more elevated and more enlightened, but it was absolutely the experience. Like all of us came from a place where our families either sold or used. We all knew what it was. We put all our shit together and made records. But the people who were making records were teenagers in Atlanta. So what we saw was trapping. We knew what the people with the cars, we knew what they were doing. We knew where the girls were gravitating towards, and we understood it in a real just instinctual way. And it's when you get people who can do art, they can describe it in a way that, you know, sometimes it can be like straightforward or sometimes it can be like really abstract. Outkast had the ability to be abstract, so it didn't feel like you were listening to drug dealers. And
they were so young.
And they were so young that they hadn't had that experience. Whereas after them and the doors open, you get talented people who happen to really be in the streets.
Right.
Finding and realizing, oh, we can do this.
And the Outkast, the crazy part about Outkast that a lot of people overlook, we all jump to the South, got something to say, but KP will attest to this. Inside of LaFace organization, inside of LaFace Records, when it came to Outkast, the big powers that be at LaFace, I even had a conversation with LA about this, they didn't understand what Outkast was doing. Like, Players Ball was actually a Christmas song that was like the last song on a LaFace compilation. I had never even came to Atlanta before. I found the song.
Right.
Like Big Gip played a video on somebody's podcast a few days ago saying Greg Street played Players Ball the first, and we quit our job. Once I found the song, because that's like my personality, I'm real hands on. So I would talk.
Greg is a DJ.
I would talk. What did he say?
I said Greg is a DJ.
Yeah.
For real.
So I started talking to Rico. I started talking to Ian Burke. I started talking to Mia Red. I started talking to Mom Benjamin. And there's a legendary day that everybody talks about in Dallas when I brought Outkast to the Bomb Factory. And that was like their first big concert. Like, because people in Atlanta wasn't really on it yet.
Yeah, Atlanta wasn't the market that broke Outkast. Actually, Oakland and Texas.
Yeah.
Like the Bay and Texas broke it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Like me and Pimp C was big Outkast fans before they broke.
Okay.
We would have conversations about Big Boy and Dre before we even met them. We had never met them. And then I reached out, like I said, I reached out to Rico, got in touch with Rico. Then it came all the way down to Shanti. They brought him out to Dallas. We did in-stores, we did concerts, we did different events. They did our big concert for the radio station one time at Texas Stadium.
Okay.
Like, it was Outkast with those guys that we could hear naturally, just organically, and it was different from Scarface. It was a different sound from what you had heard from the South, from the Ghetto Boys, from the Convicts, from Big Mike, from Miami, from Home Team and Poison Clan and everything that was going on. Even Manny Fresh was around back then. People don't remember with Gregory D.
Right.
But Outkast had that sound. It was just something about what the Dungeon family's ear for music and what they could put together was like, it was crazy.
To be fair, we had the benefit of LAM, Babyface, and Pebbles, who had made big commercial records. Yeah. So they were like, we understood that their first instinct wasn't hip hop. So we played like these super rap records, and they were like, yeah, I don't get it. And we also understood we had to make something to get past them. Right. So learning from them how to make songs helped us in that way, because they basically told us how to produce.
Well, they made amazing records.
Yeah,
that Donnell Jones album to me is still probably one of the greatest R&B albums of all time. I tell L.A. Reid that all the time. Yeah. Whenever I go in the Tip studio, there used to be Silent Sound. I'm thinking about the sound that they created for Donnell Jones inside this building.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's we had a cheat code. Like, we had the best producers in black music at the time as our mentors.
As your big homies.
Yeah.
Hey, Tig, when I first saw that tape, and I'm talking about the cassette that had the Outkast on it. I'm LaFace and Tony Braxton. I'm like, yeah, and I got to that. I was like, what the hell is this? As a DJ in Atlanta, I was like, why they put this on here? But then I saw, like a couple of months later, I saw the video, and I saw Dre with the braids and all that on. I was like, wow, these right up the street. It was a rap. Like you said, Atlanta just didn't catch on right away. Right. It just didn't.
I could just listen to what they were saying in the music. The video wasn't even out. When I heard the song Because it was the only rap song on the album.
Like technically, it's a Christmas trap song.
Yeah.
Like that's real.
It
If you
is.
listen to the
World's
lyrics,
first Christmas trap song.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it's like ain't no chimneys in my ghetto, so I don't be hanging my chimneys. Well, I don't know the words off top, but everything about it was
It's a Christmas record.
slanging. It was like figuring out how to hustle
I
up
gotta
money
go
to get
listen
through
to the
Christmas.
song now.
No,
Yeah, they
listen
was
to it.
hustling
To
in
feel
that.
the
That was a
Christmas in
hustler
it.
song. Like the junkies, and like everything about that song was about our version of Christmas.
Got it.
So it wasn't necessarily deemed trap music because the thought hadn't happened.
Right.
But they was talking street.
Yeah, it was street shit.
Okay. So now, as we do our thing here at this wonderful curated space dedicated to Atlanta's impact of hip hop, if right there on that wall it said trap music, and you
Well,
could
there
put-
is a trap music museum in here in
There
Atlanta
is.
owned by T.I.
Shout out
Check
to
it out when
McCain.
you're in town.
If there was just the trap music and under it you had to place one song that is the definition of
Dope
trap
Boys.
music.
Dope Boys in the Trap by T.I.
Jelly?
That same thing. I almost got into a fight with Alex playing at his club. Yeah, seriously.
It's crazy. It's crazy to say one song, because then you got to think like when Future came out, Future took it to the next level, and then people don't realize Future is Dungeon Family.
1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%.
And
Not
Future. When Future came in the game, Future really turned it up because
Yeah,
a lot
he
of people didn't pay
elevated.
attention. Future put out over 150 records in 6 months.
Damn.
If you go look at the dates on all those
Trapping.
mixtapes and all those records, he put out over 150 songs in 6 months.
Yeah, that's trapping at its best.
That's trapping at his best, even though he was telling, get this prescription and all that. But you're right. Future is definitely the shit.
Yeah,
Future,
but,
Gucci.
but I'm saying, I was about to say, but if you're saying, for, like, when I say definitive, I'm
yeah,
not.
like that. Like if there had to be a song that was, you put up the picture that's the definition.
So I misunderstood. So I hear what you're saying.
It's not
one.
You can't pick one.
You can't do that.
It's so many big ones. You got Future, Gucci, Tip,
Jeezy.
It's just
Thug Motivation
it's just so
101,
many.
that album.
Yeah.
Young Thug,
If you
Gucci.
ask me what was the first, I would say the first one that I would say I consider trap music would be Dope Boys in the Trap for me.
Okay. So what other genres or regions, if there are any, are connected to trap?
Shit, when
Memphis?
you think Detroit,
Yeah, definitely Memphis.
Detroit,
Memphis, Miami, New Orleans,
Detroit,
Detroit,
Chicago.
Yeah.
And it's what connects them, the subject matter or the sound?
No, the plug.
The plug.
Ohio, you got some Ohio spots
Ohio.
too.
Yeah.
Ohio.
No, you're right. Though. Definitely subject all day.
Houston,
Cleveland, Dayton, Flint, Houston.
Yeah.
But Houston had their own sound. Like it's hard to put them
But
in
each
that
region had their own sound.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying they had their movement. That's what I should say. They had their movement first, so it's almost like we would pull them in, but they're actually bigger than that. Like I feel like Texas music is its own thing.
Right.
Oh, it's definitely big.
Absolutely.
Houston and Dallas music was big.
Yeah,
Like,
you got to say Dallas. You're right. You saying Dallas.
Houston and
Like it's-
Dallas.
Yeah.
Was big. You got DOC.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Nemesis.
Damn.
All the way to
You didn't go to
Ghetto
the
Boys. Scarface,
Feel the bass.
Greg gonna break out the history, boy.
Slim Thug.
Yeah.
Chameleon now. Paul Wall. Mike Jones.
Zero.
Zero.
Yeah, Zero.
Zero still big.
No.
Yeah.
He the old triple O.
Trey the
Trey the
Truth.
Truth.
Trey the Truth.
What up, Trey?
Yeah.
No doubt. So now, as we talk about the evolution of trap music in Atlanta, we can't not mention like the people who were fueling this, the DJ Toomps.
Yes.
The
Shawty
Zaytoven.
Red.
Zaytoven.
Yeah. DJ Monte.
DJ Monte.
Does it survive without their input?
Absolutely not, because they brought the sonic to the vision of it, and I think you have to have like that perfect score to whatever movie you're selling, right?
And some of those guys are real producers. They just not beat makers.
Yeah, no,
Some of those
actually,
guys
all
are
of
real
those guys we
producers.
just mentioned are producers, so they understand how to put the whole thing together. It's not just a beat.
So like to say DJ Toomp, who produced Dope Boys in the Trap,
Right.
But DJ Toomp is really like our Dr. Dre, because he came from the bass music, from the booty shake era, to the trap music,
Right.
also the hip hop to Mariah Carey, from trap music,
did a lot.
from booty shake to trap music, to Kanye, Mariah Carey, all the way to 23.
That's an amazing evolution.
Hey man, I mean, it's talent. Like, it's just real, actual factual talent.
So now T.I.'s here.
Yeah.
The album is trap music.
Yes. 20 years ago.
Here comes Jeezy.
Yes.
Here comes Future.
Yeah. Gucci.
Here comes Guwap.
Gucci then.
Then Future, yeah.
Gucci then Future. How does Atlanta feel about it? Is it a moment of pride? Is it just, there we go again? Because now this is, to me, for somebody who moved here, watching it evolve, this is the moment where Atlanta starts to put hip hop in the headlock.
Yeah, because again, Shawty Low, D4L, like
Rocco.
Rocco, man.
Can't forget about Rocco.
You can't say Future without Rocco for me.
Yeah, you can't say Future without Rocco.
Yeah, because as much as Future is Dungeon Family, Rocco put the hustle behind what the music was.
Yeah. He can't. Rocco came to me on a Saturday.
Yeah.
He brought Future to the station. There's a video on YouTube about it. Of the day he did it, he's like, "Street, I'm about to make this guy the biggest guy in the game."
Yeah,
and he did it,
just like that.
Yeah, like literally, like he put him on the YC record, Racks on Racks, and understood that was the hookiest shit ever, and everybody wanted to know who that person was.
Yeah.
Wow.
YC had a deal, but Future had that. He had the bag.
YC had a deal, but Future didn't.
Didn't.
I had to break that down to Future because Future really was.
Moving
it was crazy.
Right.
It
Yeah.
was a crazy situation.
Yeah,
Like,
he didn't
Future,
understand.
I'm like, Future, chill out because you're not signed. You like my example to him was if you took Michael Vick as a free agent and said, hey, listen, our quarterback, we going to the Super Bowl. Our quarterback just got hurt. Come play in the Super Bowl. You go out there and run for 100 and throw for 100. You're not signed. You signed for this one game.
Right.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, you set your price after that.
Yeah, but he didn't get it at first.
Willie beaming.
Steaming.
So if you, and I'll start with you, Greg, if you had to put, we're talking about Atlanta hip hop and trap music, who's on the Mount Rushmore?
I knew it.
Of Atlanta.
Mount Trapmore, I would like.
Mount Trapmore.
Yeah, I
like
like
that even better. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. I do that. I do that type of shit.
Tip with 4 people. Tip, Jeezy, Future, Tip, Jeezy, Future. What you say?
He ain't say nothing. Oh, why you like
Oh, definitely Gucci.
I was waiting for you to say it.
In fact, I was supposed to say Gucci
On the
second.
Mount Trapmore. We being specific.
Yeah,
Mount Trapmore.
Not
Trapmore.
Atlanta Mount.
Being respectful, I was supposed to say Gucci second.
Okay.
Tip, Gucci, Jeezy, and Future.
Okay.
Mhm.
Is that a unanimous?
That's the same for me too.
Hands down
on
for
the
me.
Trapmore.
Yeah, I'm not saying the first trappers. I'm saying the trappers who did it the best and represented it in a way that it is impeccable, undeniably trap excellence.
And it changed the whole new generation, especially the younger generation now. Like
Yeah.
it has influenced everything.
So are we still trapping?
I don't know that trapping ever dies, like on
It
some
doesn't.
level.
It goes nowhere. I'm in the clubs all the time. It don't go anywhere.
And it ain't all drugs. It's like whatever it is you pushing.
Who are the new trappers?
Oh man, there's so many.
Pick one.
I mean,
Pick one?
trap is kind of diversified too.
Yes, we
It's kind of
diversified the portfolio.
It's diversified because it's not just all about drugs and stuff anymore. Like I think drill is a byproduct of trap.
It is. It is.
Okay.
It's like the East Coast version. It's their own version of
So
trap.
are the NBA young boys?
Yes, and by the way, thank you, Tigger.
You're welcome, sir. I
Like
do
that
this
was
too.
yeah. So 21.
21
Savage,
Savage,
definitely.
Absolutely, young boy.
Ghana,
Gunna.
Thug, Young Dro.
And Lee.
Dro is kind of in the. I feel bad because Dro he's in the middle of that. Like he wasn't the
Tween.
first one, but he's not in that young.
NBA, Young Boy.
Chopper.
Thug. Oh yeah, Chopper. Chopper's definitely in there. It's so many now.
Yeah.
Uzi
Thug-
Vert is a byproduct of it,
He is. That's absolute.
Migos.
Thank you.
Well, not together no
Trap
more,
out the
but
band.
20. Lil Baby.
for life.
Lil Baby.
Lil Baby.
Lil Baby has done it like almost in my opinion personal opinion, he's done it the best out of the newer ones.
The new generation.
Yeah, because he's done it in a way that he's been able to maintain his star while maintaining his authenticity, but not f***ing up the bag.
and the growth.
Yeah, that's what I meant by not f***ing the bag. Growth. Yeah, that was the word, growth.
Great word.
There's been a thing here, in particularly in Atlanta, where trap music artists seem targeted for their subject matter. There's even court cases pending where they're trying to put their lyrics on trial.
Which is unfair, like to use art against an artist for something that isn't art, right? Because you don't use a Steven Seagal movie against, you don't use movies against actors who will get in trouble. Like it happens.
But the difference in that, KP, is
damn, I knew he was gonna say this.
The actors didn't write the script.
True that. Okay, but like, and nobody went after Francis Ford Coppola for The Godfather. Like, he's Italian,
right?
Like, nobody went and tried to use that as a thing. Now I will say this. Now listen, there's no way around the fact that a lot of the records come from a real place, right? So it's inspired by something that really happened, some circumstance. So sometimes the exaggeration, if met with an actual issue, you can kind of put it together and make a case. So I understand why they do it. I just don't think it should be done.
Jelly?
Yes, I mean, it's unfair, unfortunately, but a lot of the times with the younger cats coming out, they gotta be like, you know what, I ain't gonna talk so much trash. They need to do what they want to do, but it's just unfortunate that these type of things gonna happen.
Yeah,
straight up.
Don't snitch on yourself.
Yeah, don't snitch. Thank you, Greg. Don't snitch on yourself.
Snitch on yourself.
Some of this is that born out of.
But let me tell you something though.
Go ahead.
An interesting point to that. One of my new favorite rappers, a guy by the name of Aldi 300. He's from East Texas. East Texas. And me and him had an intense conversation about this same subject. His whole thing is, on the Italian side, the mafia was trapping and doing what they was doing, and then they evolved into the business world.
Right.
They've never given black people that same opportunity as all the criminals in the United States. They've never from the black community, they never had a chance to experience that growth
and evolve.
I mean, some people, you had a few people that's.
There's a couple I can think of.
A few that got by.
There's a big one. There's an obvious one.
Some big names.
But as a whole,
right.
like
as a
whole.
That's right.
And this is the part where, going back to the original point, which is don't snitch on yourself. Like, Frank Sinatra didn't sing about trapping. He didn't sing about the thing that he saw happen. So it's about figuring out how to be art.
About the things that he did.
That he did, yeah.
Or whatever, right? No, but same.
On top of that.
Yeah, same with that. But I'm saying that's where we do have to have some kind of discernment. In every person rapping isn't an artist, and artists sometimes can describe something without giving away detail that gets them hemmed up. Whereas sometimes people who are just talking their truth. Like, people are being paid to be candid. Like, that's how you get attention now. So it's actually it's set up for them to think the more transparent they are, that more of a fan base. But it's like, police are fans too.
So how do y'all feel it sitting at the BET Hip Hop Awards, watching the mixtape era with drama?
Yes.
And that was trap. That was trap. I mean, T.I. comes out and does.
Well, Fab first.
Fab came out, did his thing, but I'm saying like the T.I. Jeezy part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pride in that. It's like it's understanding that the music made a mark, the music was received in a way that is still celebrated, and it's from us. It's from Atlanta. Yeah, it's tight.
That's right. All Atlanta music, all Atlanta terminology. I mean, I wasn't there, but. I mean, shoot.
You were there in spirit, sir.
I mean, you gotta really understand it. Like, it's been an evolving process. We talking about 3 generations. You know what I'm saying? We talking about 30 years.
Right.
So you gotta think, people that grew up on trap music are now in their 40s and 50s. So it's like when you look at it and you look at what the kids are doing now and what they're being scrutinized for, it's partly of what it has manifested to from the beginning till now.
Yeah, but let's not act like the term wasn't sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Like, it's never not been a part of the honesty of music and art.
No doubt.
I actually have a clip of the Curtis Mayfield song in my phone. Anytime somebody talks to me about music and the content of music, I send them a little video of Curtis Mayfield on Soul Train. I'm your mama. I'm in
the alley. Yeah, that might have been the first trap song, really.
Yeah, right.
One time for Curtis Mayfield.
Curtis
That's
Mayfield
right.
one time.
From the A.
which drops back into Outkast, but it all works out. It's secular.
Well, listen, this has been an amazing history of trap music from the people who know it best. Shout out to the homie Greg Street. Thank you for being here, sir. DJ Jelly, KP the Great. And listen, anytime you need some education and upliftment, you need to pull up on your boy Big Tig. This has been another edition of Rap City Beyond the Basement. I holla.
Yeah.